There is a deep peace that comes when you stop fighting what is. When you stop pushing against life. When you stop wrestling with the why and begin whispering, I accept. In that sacred moment of surrender, heaven breathes through you. The storm inside quiets. The ache begins to soften. And though nothing outside may have changed yet, something within you begins to heal. Resistance is the rope that ties you to suffering. Acceptance is the hand that cuts it loose. When you resist, you tighten the chains. When you accept, you open the door. You cannot be free while fighting life. You cannot find peace while saying, this should not have happened. For every should not is a wall between you and the miracle waiting to enter. The divine cannot pour blessings into a heart closed by resistance. But the moment you whisper, I let it be, the universe exhales with you. I release all resistance. I let go of what I cannot change. Peace flows through me now. To accept is not to approve. To accept is not to surrender your power. To accept is to stop fighting reality long enough for God to enter it. When you resist, you fight with shadows. When you accept, you invite light. The miracle of acceptance is not that it changes what happened. It changes you. The energy of peace is higher than the energy of pain. The vibration of surrender is stronger than the vibration of fear. The moment you stop saying, this shouldn't be, and begin saying, even this can be used for good, you rise above the storm that once swallowed you. Everything that has come into my life has come to awaken me. Even what hurt me carries a hidden gift. I choose to see peace instead of pain. Acceptance is a bridge from confusion to clarity, from tears to understanding, from suffering to serenity. When you stop resisting, you create space for miracles to arrive. You stop demanding life to bend to your plan and begin allowing divine order to unfold. The moment you let go of should have been, the universe can begin to show you how it can still be made right. Nothing is ever lost in divine law, only transformed, only reborn, only reshaped into something higher than your understanding. I trust the process of my life. I no longer need to fight my past. Everything is unfolding for my good. You see, the miracle of acceptance is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It comes quietly, like sunlight creeping into a dark room. It comes when you've cried your last tear, asked your last question, and said softly, I surrender. In that surrender, there is strength. For acceptance is the courage to stop running from what hurts and turn toward what heals. It is the soul's way of saying, even in this, I choose peace. And when you choose peace, you choose God. You align yourself with the highest energy of the universe. You stop arguing with what already is, and you open yourself to what can be. Peace is my priority. I am safe in the flow of life. I let go, and I let God. Everything you once thought you lost, acceptance returns to you in another form. Maybe not as it was, but as it was meant to be. That relationship that ended may come back as self-love. That failure may return as wisdom. That heartbreak may bloom into compassion. When you stop resisting, you allow life to rearrange itself on your behalf. The universe is never against you. It is only waiting for your permission to bring you peace. So today, rest. Stop fighting what already is. Stop asking the wound to explain itself. It has already served its purpose. It brought you here, to this sacred knowing. You do not need to understand everything to be at peace. You only need to accept what is, and trust that in divine time, all will make sense. I accept where I am. I trust where I'm going. The miracle of peace finds me now. And as you breathe that truth in, feel the weight lift from your chest. Feel your heart unclench. Feel your soul begin to rest. For the miracle of acceptance is not something you must search for. It is something that has been searching for you. It finds you the moment you stop resisting. And when it does, you will feel it, the gentle whisper of peace that says, "You are safe now. You can stop fighting. You can rest in love." So many people confuse acceptance with surrendering their power. They think to accept is to give up. They believe to let go is to lose. But in truth, acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. You are not giving up when you accept. You are giving over to something higher, wiser, and infinitely more loving than your human mind can imagine. You are not stepping out of power. You are stepping into divine power. When you let go of control, you stop wrestling with the river and begin to float with its flow. You stop forcing and start allowing. You stop micromanaging the universe and start trusting the rhythm of divine timing. I do not give up. I give over to God. I trust the unseen forces working for my good. Letting go is my greatest strength. The need to control comes from fear. Fear says, if I don't hold on, everything will fall apart. But faith whispers, if you let go, everything will fall into place. Control is the illusion that we are the ones keeping the world together. But you were never meant to carry that burden. You were never meant to fix everything, heal everyone, or make every situation turn out the way you think it should. Sometimes, God must remove your hands so His can move freely. Sometimes, He waits for your surrender before He can deliver your miracle. Because miracles do not come to clenched fists. They come to open palms. I open my hands and release control. I let go of the outcome and trust divine order. My surrender invites the miraculous. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. It means you no longer drag yesterday into today, hoping it will behave differently. It means you no longer argue with life as it is, but begin to trust that even this moment, yes, even this, is sacred. When you accept, you stop saying, "It shouldn't have happened." I start saying, "I trust what it's teaching me." And when you speak like that, the energy of heaven rushes in. For acceptance is faith in action. It is believing that everything that enters your life is a messenger of growth, not punishment. I welcome what is here to teach me. Every lesson is a gift in disguise. If I am safe in the flow of divine purpose, the human mind believes control equals safety. But control only creates tension. True safety comes from alignment. It comes when your heart says, I will no longer resist what is unfolding. I will let God lead. In that letting go, you discover a strength that cannot be shaken. Because it no longer depends on outcomes. It depends on faith. It depends on the unchanging presence of spirit within you. Say softly, with peace, I let go of the need to know. I release the illusion of control. I trust that all is unfolding for my highest good. To accept is not to quit. It is to quit fighting. It is to stop wasting energy on what cannot be changed, and start pouring it into what can. Your response, your peace, your vibration. Acceptance is not passivity, it is participation with the divine. It is choosing harmony over resistance. The universe is not your opponent, it is your reflection. The moment you accept what is, you align with the frequency that allows what's next to unfold effortlessly. Control delays. Acceptance accelerates. Because control comes from fear, but acceptance comes from faith. And faith is the energy that manifests miracles. I live by faith, not by force. What I release returns to me transformed. I let go and rise higher. So, stop holding so tightly to your version of how things must be. Stop gripping what is already trying to leave your hand. For what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you cannot be forced. Let go of how, when, and why. Those are the language of fear. Faith speaks only one word: yes. Yes to divine timing. Yes to divine correction. Yes to divine redirection. And when you say yes, peace returns. Peace always follows surrender. Because control keeps you tense, but faith lets you rest. I am guided, guarded, and supplied. Everything is happening in divine order. The miracle unfolds when I stop trying to control it. You were never asked to figure it all out, only to trust. You were never told to understand everything, only to stay open. You were never meant to carry the weight, only to allow grace to carry you. Acceptance is the language of the soul that has learned to trust. It says, even in uncertainty, I am safe. It says, even when I don't know the way knows me. And that is the miracle. When you let go, you do not fall. You are lifted. You do not lose. You are guided. You do not surrender your power. You discover it. I let go. And I rise. I surrender. I am free. I trust. And miracles unfold effortlessly. Pain is not your punishment. It is your teacher. It comes not to destroy you, but to awaken you. It does not come to take away your peace. It comes to reveal where peace was never fully rooted. Every ache, every loss, every heartbreak carries within it the seed of wisdom. But that seed can only grow in the soil of acceptance. As long as you resist the pain, you remain its prisoner. The moment you accept it, you become its student, and then its master. I do not run from pain. I rise through it. I allow every sorrow to reveal its sacred meaning. What once hurt me now heals me. When you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what is this here to teach me? Your whole vibration changes. You move from victim to victor, from wounded to wise, from broken to beautiful. For pain, when accepted, becomes light. It transforms from resistance to revelation. It becomes the very energy that carries you toward your divine purpose. You may not see it now, but the pain you accept today will one day become someone else's healing. The tears you cried will one day become the words that comfort another soul. Nothing you've been through is wasted when it's given to God. My pain has purpose. My healing will help others heal. I bless my past, for it brought me wisdom. Acceptance does not mean the hurt disappears overnight. It means you stop fighting the lesson inside it. You stop clinging to the should have been and begin to see what is becoming. Pain is a sacred messenger. It comes to strip away illusions, to burn away everything that is false so truth can stand revealed. You are not being punished. You are being purified. Every loss has refined you. Every tear has cleansed you. Every heartbreak has stretched your capacity to love. I am purified by my pain. I am wiser because I have lived through it. Every experience has prepared me for greater peace. When you hold on to pain, it festers. When you resist it, it repeats. But when you accept it, it releases its lesson and leaves your spirit lighter than before. It is not the pain itself that harms us. It is our attachment to how it should have been. The moment you release the story, you release the suffering. The event loses its power, and only wisdom remains. I am not my pain. I am the light that rises from it. The past no longer holds me. Only love remains. So many are afraid to look at their wounds. They bury them under busyness, denial, or silence. But the wound unacknowledged becomes the wall that blocks abundance, love, and joy. You cannot heal what you hide, but you can heal what you accept. When you sit with your pain and say, I see you. I will not fight you anymore. Teach me what I need to learn. Something miraculous happens. It stops being your enemy and becomes your ally. I face my pain with love. I honor my story with grace. I thank my challenges for the strength they gave me. There is wisdom in every ending. There is light in every loss. And there is divine purpose even in what you do not yet understand. Acceptance allows time to turn sorrow into meaning. For nothing is wasted in the mind of God. Every thread of pain is being woven into the tapestry of your becoming. And one day, you will look back and see that what once broke you open actually opened you up. To compassion, to humility, to love that does not waver. I have not been broken. I have been awakened. Pain has taught me empathy, not bitterness. I bless my past for how it grew my soul. Do not fear the H within you. It is holy. It is the echo of your soul expanding beyond what you thought you could bear. It is life stretching your heart wide enough to hold both sorrow and joy. And when you can hold both, when you can say, this hurt, but I am still grateful, you have entered the divine classroom of wisdom. There, pain no longer controls you. It serves you. It teaches you. And finally, it releases you. I am free from the past. My lessons are complete. I rise, wiser and softer than ever before. And as you stand in that soft knowing that every tear was sacred, every trial was training, every loss was love in disguise, you begin to see the truth that has always been there. You are not what happened to you. You are what healed through you. There comes a moment on every spiritual journey when the heart whispers, why me? Why this loss, this delay, this heartbreak, this trial? And the heavens ever so gently answer, because I trust you. Life does not choose you for pain. It chooses you for growth. It is not punishing you. It is preparing you. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You move from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from victimhood to vision. I am being prepared, not punished. Every challenge carries divine instruction. I release the need to understand and choose to trust instead. Every why me is a doorway to a higher perspective. The question itself is not wrong. It's simply incomplete. The universe invites you to finish it. Why me? for this blessing disguised as pain? Why me to awaken others through my healing? Why me? Because my soul was strong enough to transmute darkness into light. When you stop asking for reasons and begin to ask for revelation, the veil lifts. You see that life has never been against you. It has been working through you. The detour you cursed was actually your protection. The delay you feared was divine timing, unfolding in silence. Nothing is working against me. All things are working for me. The universe is not testing me. It is trusting me. Even this is love in disguise. There is no wasted experience in divine law. Every disappointment that once broke is a building block for your strength. Every unanswered prayer is an answered prayer in disguise. For it saved you from something that was never meant for your highest path. The moment you release why me, you release resistance. And when resistance ends, revelation begins. Suddenly, what once looked like chaos starts to make sense. Because peace has replaced the need to know. You no longer demand an explanation. You live in expectation. You no longer argue with divine order. You cooperate with it. And that cooperation opens the floodgates of miracles. I cooperate with the flow of life. I no longer need to understand. I only need to trust. Divine order governs my path. The ego says, I must know why. The spirit says, you will know when. Faith fills the space in between. Sometimes you are not meant to see the purpose from the valley. You must first climb the mountain. From that higher view, you will look back and say, if not for that challenge, I would never have found my strength. If not for that ending, I would never have discovered my beginning. My story is unfolding perfectly. Everything is happening for my awakening. I release the question and embrace the answer within me. There is freedom in not knowing. There is peace in not needing every detail explained. Because when you stop asking, why me? You begin to remember who you are. You are the beloved of the divine, never forgotten, never forsaken. And everything that enters your life, even the hard, the heavy, the hidden, is a chapter in your sacred training to live as love itself. You were not chosen to suffer. You were chosen to shine. The fire was not sent to burn you. It was sent to reveal your gold. I am refined, not ruined. I am strengthened, not broken. I am chosen for divine purpose. When you stop saying, why me? You create space for gratitude to bloom. Gratitude does not always mean happiness. Sometimes it simply means acceptance. The quiet nod of the soul that says, even this has meaning. And when you reach that space, your vibration rises. The universe begins to respond differently. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. The moment you release complaint, creation begins. The moment you stop asking for escape, you start receiving elevation. And in that elevation, you finally understand. You were never a victim of life. You were the vessel through which life was learning to love. I am not my struggle. I am its solution. I am not my pain. I am the power that transforms it. I am what happened. I am what emerged. And now, instead of saying, why me? You whisper, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with this journey. Thank you for the lessons hidden inside loss. Thank you for the strength I didn't know had until I was forced to find it. For gratitude is the final stage of acceptance. And gratitude turns wounds into wisdom, tears into teaching, and trials into triumph. Healing is not always about changing what happened. Sometimes it is about changing how you hold it. Sometimes it is not about fixing the wound, but allowing it to breathe. For true healing does not come through resistance. It comes through release. The world teaches us to fix, to patch, to move on quickly. But the soul whispers, feel this. Let this move through you. Because what you feel fully, you free completely. I allow myself to feel. Every emotion is safe in the presence of my love. I no longer rush my healing. I trust its timing. Healing is not a straight line. It's a gentle spiral, circling you back through layers of understanding. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days, the same old ache will rise again. Not to punish you, but to invite you deeper. For healing revisits you not because you failed, but because you're ready to release even more. You cannot skip feeling and call it healing. You cannot suppress the ache and call it faith. Faith is not pretending you are fine. It is knowing you are held even when you are not. I am safe to feel my truth. Even in my weakness, I am loved. I honor every emotion as sacred. Do not rush to be okay. Rushing to heal is another form of resistance. Let the tears come. Let the silence hold you. Let your breath become your prayer. Every tear shed in awareness is a release of old energy leaving your body. When you allow yourself to feel sadness, anger, grief, confusion, you are not breaking down, you are clearing space. You are making room for light. And the light will always return. I make space for my healing. I trust that what rises is ready to be released. I breathe peace into every tender place within me. A healing is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about showing up for yourself in love, even when you are trembling. It is the art of holding your own heart, with gentleness instead of judgment. You are not required to be strong all the time. You are only asked to be honest. Honest with what hurts, honest with what you need, honest with what you feel. It's okay to rest. It's okay to feel. It's okay to heal slowly. But some people think that healing means forgetting. But healing is not erasure. It is integration. You will not always forget the pain, but one day, you will remember it without the ache. You will speak of it and feel peace instead of tears. That is how you will know the miracle has occurred. Healing is the soul's alchemy. It turns pain into wisdom. It transforms scars into stories of strength. It teaches you to love yourself, not because you are unbroken, but because you have been broken and still chose love. My scars are symbols of my strength. My healing is a holy journey. I am whole, even as I grow. Sometimes the greatest healing happens in silence. Not through words, not through action, but through stillness. In that quiet space, God works unseen. He rearranges what you cannot. He restores what you thought was lost. He lifts what you were never meant to carry. And when you are still enough, you will feel it. The divine current of peace moving beneath your pain. That is the real healing. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of peace. Peace is healing me now. Divine love restores every part of my being. What I do not fix, God transforms. So today, stop trying so hard to get over it. Let yourself be in it. Not forever, but for as long as your soul needs to release what it has carried. Do not judge your pace. Do not compare your healing. Even a flower blooms differently under the same sun. You are healing, even when it doesn't look like it. You are transforming, even when it still hurts. You are becoming lighter, even when you still feel heavy. And one day, you will wake up and realize that the pain you once thought would break you became the reason you finally became whole. I trust my healing. I let love do what logic cannot. I am healing beautifully, under grace and in perfect ways. There comes a moment in every healing, after the tears, after the letting go, after the silence, when something beautiful happens, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a sunrise that doesn't ask permission to rise. It is the miracle of light returning, not in grand gestures, but in simple things, in a smile that no longer feels forced, in a breath that no longer feels heavy, in the stillness that no longer feels empty. This is the quiet miracle, the one that happens when you stop searching for what left and start noticing what stayed. I find light in what remains. I bless the little things that stayed with me. Peace is rising within me again. You see, the mind often waits for big signs to feel safe again. It says, I'll believe I'm healed when everything looks perfect. But the soul whispers, you are already healing. Look closer. The soul finds beauty in the smallest proofs of grace. It sees the divine in the morning light, in the sound of laughter, in the kindness of a stranger. It realizes that even after loss, something remains. Love remains. And love is enough to rebuild everything. Love never leaves. Love is what survives every ending. Ooh, I rebuild my life with what still loves me. Finding light in what remains is not pretending everything is fine. It's learning to see the sacred even in imperfection. It's realizing that life, though not what it was, is still beautiful. The tree that lost its leaves stands strong. The sky that storms still clears again. And the heart that broke still beats. Softer, wiser, fuller than before. I honor what I have. I give thanks for what remains. My peace is not in perfection, but in presence. The quiet miracle often arrives in ordinary moments. In the day you laugh without guilt. In the morning you wake up without dread. In the moment you notice that your heart no longer flinches at the thought that once hurt you. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. But it is sacred. For in that stillness, heaven confirms you made it through. You didn't need everything you thought you lost. You only needed to find yourself again. I have survived every night. The light within me never went out. I am the proof that peace returns. So stop waiting for the next big miracle to arrive. Look around you. The miracle is already here. It's in your breath, your resilience, your willingness to keep going. It's in the sunrise that greets you without fail. It's in the quiet knowing that, somehow, you are being carried. The real miracle is not that everything worked out. It's that you did. You found grace in the middle of what tried to take it from you. You found peace where once there was pain. You found light, not because life became easy, but because you chose to see differently. My vision is healed. I see through eyes of love. I am surrounded by grace. The quiet miracle teaches you to live again, not from fear, but from appreciation. To see blessings not as rare events, but as the natural rhythm of your life. To know that even in loss, something greater is born. For what remains after every ending is the truth that cannot be taken. You are loved. You are guided. You are eternal. Love sustains me. Grace surrounds me. Peace lives within me always. You may not have everything you wanted, but you have what matters. You have breath. You have awareness. You have faith. You have the capacity to love again, to hope again, to believe again. That is the quiet miracle, and it is enough to begin anew. So tonight, instead of longing for what's gone, give thanks for what stayed. Give thanks for your breath. Give thanks for your courage. Give thanks for the divine presence that never once left your side. Because that is where peace lives. Not in having it all, but in noticing that you already have enough. I live in gratitude for what remains. I find light in small moments of grace. I am whole, even here, even now. And as you rest in that gentle knowing, your heart begins to whisper back to the universe, I am ready to see beauty again. And the universe, as it always does, answers, beloved, beauty never left. You simply had to open your eyes. You have done your work. You have prayed. You have released. You have trusted. Now you may rest and let the miracle find you. There is a divine law that says, when you stop racing, grace catches up. When you stop chasing results, the results begin to come. When you stop pressing the fruit ripens. And when you stop forcing the door opens effortlessly. I am done chasing. I am done striving. I stand still, and the miracle comes. I allow divine good to locate me. It is safe now to let go of your schedule. It is safe now to let the pace slow. Because in stillness, spirit moves. Quietly, unseen, yet powerfully. And when you move from that place, you move in perfect harmony with all things. The universe is not against you. It is waiting for your permission. The miracle is not hiding. You were. Stop searching outward for evidence. Start noticing inward the whisper of, Was, good is locating me now. Do. Perfect timing is already at work in my life. I receive the unseen and make it visible. When the world says, you must do more, Spirit says, be still, the work is done. You may still act, but no longer from desperation. You act from allowance. You speak from release. You attract from calm. Let the miracle find you in your restful faith. Let it find you in the quiet of your heart. Let it find you in the space between your words, in the pause of your breath, in the gentle certainty of your soul. I rest in divine supply. I trust what has been promised. All is well and all is good in my world. Miracles rarely roar. They often whisper. They often arrive not with trumpet blasts, but with gentle knockings. A burst of peaceful joy. An unexpected door. A sudden clarity. A small yes, in the heart that says, I am ready. You do not need to earn this moment. You do not need to prove your worth. You only need to be ready to receive and stand open in faith. I am ready for my miracle. I stand open to new good. I welcome increase, love, and light into my life now. For your role now is not to chase, but to allow. Not to scramble, but to surrender. Not to demand, but to receive. Because the law of spirit says, what you align with, aligns with you. What you expect in quiet faith, comes in visible form. And so you breathe this truth. Divine good finds me now. I am ready. I am open. I am grateful. Let the miracle of my healing, my peace, my abundance, find me under grace and in perfect ways. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now. Take a slow, deep breath. And let everything that doesn't belong to this moment fall away. Every worry, every thought of how or when, let it go. You are safe now. You are held in divine love. You are standing in the presence of peace itself. Feel your shoulders release. Feel your chest soften. Let your breath become slower, deeper, as if you are being breathed by grace. Inhale peace. Exhale resistance. Inhale love. Exhale control. Now, in this quiet space, whisper gently to your hearty, I do not chase. I attract. I do not force. I allow. I do not fear. I trust. And everything that is meant for you is already on its way. Every prayer that has left your lips is already being answered in the invisible. There is nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing delayed. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Right here, right now. Feel the warmth of divine light wrapping around you like a golden blanket. It flows from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. It fills every cell, every thought, every memory. This light is your reminder. You are not alone. You never were. I am surrounded by divine protection. I am filled with divine peace. I am one with the infinite source of good. Now, picture your life as a field, wide, open, ready for new blessings to bloom. You do not need to plant in panic. The soil already remembers what you've sown. Your prayers are seeds. Your trust is water. Your patience is sunlight. Stand still in this moment and feel the quiet movement of life beneath the surface. Even when you cannot see it, growth is happening. Miracles are forming. Peace is expanding. What I seek is seeking me. My miracle is already in motion. I live in divine timing. Take another deep breath. Let gratitude rise from your chest like a song. Thank your past for its lessons. Thank this moment for its peace. Thank your future for its promises. Whisper with certainty. Not hope but knowing. Everything I need comes to me easily, effortlessly, and in perfect ways. I am open to receive. I rest in divine abundance now. And as this meditation draws to a close, feel yourself glowing, light, calm, centered, whole. The energy around you has shifted. Your heart is open. Your path is clear. You have stopped chasing. You have started receiving. And in this stillness, the miracle finds you. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, and in perfect ways.
Life responds to our words, our thoughts, our declarations. We live in a world not governed by chance, but by a great invisible law, which brings to us what we expect, what we call, what we dare to claim. Wealth, like a carriage waiting at the curb, comes when it is summoned with certainty, not with doubt. When you stand on the street and raise your hand for a taxi, you do not wonder if it will arrive. You do not plead or bargain. You simply signal, and the car draws near, as though it had been waiting for your command all along. So it is with money, prosperity, and supply. Too long have men and women believed that wealth is fickle, arriving only to the fortunate few, slipping through the fingers of those who chase it. Yet the truth is wealth obeys the voice of one who knows it belongs to them. It is not a stranger to be chased, but a faithful servant to be called. When you say, "Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance," you are not making idle poetry. You are sending a clear call into the unseen, as definite as hailing a taxi on a busy street. You do not apologize for it. You do not lower your eyes and whisper. You call with confidence, and money, which is but energy clothed in form, answers. Poverty is not a condition decreed by fate, it is merely a miscall. It is as though one stood on the corner waving, but instead of lifting a hand for a taxi, they mutter, "No one will stop for me. The cabs are all full. The drivers will pass me by." And so they do, for the invisible law cannot bring what the tongue denies. The tongue is a magnet, a scepter, a rudder, calling forth experiences from the unseen to the seen. Therefore, call wealth, call it boldly, call it as you would a taxi, expecting the vehicle to pull up, the door to open, and the journey to begin. Do not chase, do not run after, do not stand wringing your hands. Simply call. And when it arrives, step in with thanksgiving, knowing it has been sent for you. Wealth is not the possession of gold alone. It is health, opportunity, friendship, freedom, joy. The universe holds an endless fleet of taxis, each one ready to carry you to a destination of good. But only those who raise their hand in faith will ride. The street may seem empty, the night may seem long, but your call is heard in the silence, and the answer will appear often sooner than you dream. So speak wealth, sing wealth, affirm wealth. Let no word of lack cross your lips. Say, everything I desire now manifests. All that belongs to me comes to me with speed and certainty. I call and it comes. For the law cannot fail, just as the driver cannot resist the one who has hailed him. Wealth responds to clear, confident calling, just like a taxi does. This truth is simple, yet it is veiled to most who live believing that prosperity is distant, difficult, or reserved only for a chosen few. Consider the act of hailing a taxi. One steps to the curb, lifts a hand, and expects the car to stop. There is no trembling, no wondering whether the driver will obey. The call is clear, the signal is confident, and the result is sure. Such is the law of life. What we call to ourselves with certainty must come, for the universe is orderly, precise, and obedient to faith-filled command. When a person calls a taxi, they do not send a timid thought into the night, hoping perhaps a car might notice. They make a definite gesture, a gesture recognized by all. The driver sees the uplifted hand, the raised arm, and knows exactly what is required. This is the posture one must take with wealth. To call prosperity, the signal must be plain, the declaration strong, the expectation unwavering. Money, opportunities, and resources circulate in a great stream around us, but they stop only for the one who has made the unmistakable call. Those who say, "I hope I will have enough," are not calling a taxi, but waving into empty space. Those who murmur, "Perhaps one day I will prosper," are like a person who half raises a hand, then lowers it again, fearing the car might pass them by. But the confident one, the one who knows the law, does not doubt. They stand tall, raise their voice or their hand with clarity, and the call is answered. This is not arrogance, but alignment with principle. Wealth does not despise those who summon it, it rushes gladly to the one who knows how to receive. In the invisible realm, thought and word are signals as real as the hand lifted on a street corner. Each affirmation, each declaration of abundance, is like a shining beacon, calling forth supply from the unseen storehouse. The one who speaks, "Wealth belongs to me, and it comes to me now," has made a signal so unmistakable that the universe cannot ignore it. The power is not in the volume of the voice but in the certainty of the vibration. Just as a taxi responds not to hesitation but to recognition, so does wealth respond to the unmistakable tone of faith. The world is full of those who call timidly, faintly, or contradict their call with doubt. Imagine one hailing a cab while muttering, "No one will stop for me." The gesture is made, but the words cancel the signal. So it is with the law of supply. The lips may say, "I desire wealth," while the heart whispers, "It will not come to me." The contradiction confuses the call, and wealth, waiting faithfully to obey, passes by. But the one who aligns thought, word, and expectation creates a signal so strong that no force can resist. It is not struggle that brings supply, nor endless labor, nor anxious chasing. The street filled with taxes does not demand you run after them, It demands only that you call correctly. Life is the same. People who exhaust themselves pursuing money often find it slipping farther away, just as one who runs wildly in the street misses the simple act of raising a hand. The effortless call, born of certainty, achieves what strain cannot. Wealth is not attracted by effort but by command, just as the driver stops not for the runner, but for the one who has made the clear signal. Confidence is the key. The wavering call is weak, but the steady declaration moves mountains. The confident caller knows, even before the car appears, that it is on the way. They do not ask, "Will it come?" but say, "It is coming." This state of mind, this assurance, creates a magnetic current that draws prosperity without fail. When you say, "Money comes to me freely and easily," and you say it as one who expects the taxi to pull up, the unseen law arranges circumstances, people, and opportunities to fulfill your call. The street corner may be crowded, the night may be dark, yet the confident caller knows that the car is already responding. So in life, even when appearances seem barren, even when bills crowd the table or work is scarce, the confident declaration summons the unseen supply. Wealth, hearing the call, begins its journey toward you the very moment you speak with certainty. Delay is only an illusion. Just as the taxi may take a few moments to weave through traffic before it arrives, so too does wealth sometimes need to pass through channels unseen before it manifests. But the law is exact, the clear, confident call will always bring its answer. One must also remember that wealth, like the driver, responds to direction. When you enter the car, you give it a destination. Without it, the car idles or wanders. So too must your call for wealth be specific, purposeful, guided by intention. To say, "I want money," is vague. To say, "I am supplied in perfect ways for my home, my work, my joy," is a clear direction. The universe does not traffic in shadows but in precise orders. The clearer the call, the quicker the response. Confidence is not noise, nor is it arrogance. It is calm certainty, like the hand lifted without tremor, the voice spoken without apology. The one who knows their right to wealth does not beg, bargain, or plead. They declare, they claim, they command, and the law obeys. Wealth does not argue, question, or delay, it responds, for that is its nature. The same certainty that summons a taxi must be the certainty that calls abundance. To doubt is to dismiss the car that has already turned the corner toward you. To hesitate is to turn away from the answer already on its way. Words are magnets, they summon abundance or repel it. Each syllable we release carries a vibration, and that vibration moves into the unseen realm to draw to itself a matching form. Just as a magnet placed in the midst of scattered filings pulls to itself all that resonates, so the spoken word arranges circumstances, opportunities, and experiences according to its nature. A word of lack pulls more lack. A word of increase pulls increase. This is not fancy or imagination, it is law, as exact as the turning of the seasons or the rising of the sun. When one speaks of poverty, they set a magnet before them that calls more poverty into view. When one says, "I can never get ahead," they are fashioning a signal that must be obeyed, for the universe is impartial. It does not argue or debate, it fulfills. The word has gone forth, and the word will not return void. And yet, when the same tongue speaks, "I am richly supplied, all my needs are met. Money comes to me in perfect ways," the magnet shifts. Suddenly, new streams open, unexpected helpers appear, doors once closed begin to yield. The outer world rearranges itself to obey the decree of the word. A careless word is like a magnet placed without thought, drawing fragments and scraps one would never choose. People often wonder why misfortune repeats itself, unaware that their own tongue is summoning it daily. Each complaint is a summons. Each fearful prediction is an invitation. Each declaration of lack is a magnet that cannot help but draw lack again. The wise one guards their words as treasure, for they know every utterance is seed, and every seed must find its harvest. The magnetism of words is not limited to money but touches every area of life. Speak sickness, and the body bends toward it. Speak failure, and defeat rises to meet you. Speak discord and strife gathers like storm clouds. Yet speak life and vitality courses through. Speak success, and opportunities align themselves. Speak peace, and harmony comes as surely as night follows day. Words set the tone of the unseen, and the unseen sets the stage for the seen. When a person walks into a room and declares with confidence, "Everything is working out in divine order," they do more than soothe themselves. They shift the atmosphere. Those words, spoken with belief, become a magnet, drawing order where there was confusion, bringing resolution where there was conflict. The vibration of faith is irresistible. It calls forth higher patterns, like a tuning fork causing all else to vibrate in sympathy. The spoken word is not mere sound but energy directed, and energy never fails to attract its likeness. Consider the magnet in its simplicity. It does not struggle, it does not strain, it does not chase. It merely is, and by its being it attracts. So with words, a declaration spoken calmly, confidently, with no trace of fear, sets in motion unseen forces that work tirelessly to bring its content into form. To say, "I prosper wherever I turn," is to set in motion a law that will gather circumstances to prove it so. To say, "Everything I touch is blessed," is to place a magnet before your path that compels blessings to meet you. It is not enough to whisper words without belief, for the magnetism lies not in idle repetition, but in the conviction behind them. A person may speak 1,000 affirmations, but if their inner tone denies them, the magnet is weak and scattered. Yet a single word, spoken once with absolute certainty, holds more power than endless phrases muttered with doubt. The magnet responds to the quality, not the quantity. The heart behind the word gives it force, just as the strength of a magnet determines the filings it can draw. This is why idle chatter is dangerous. Words tossed carelessly, in jest or in complaint, still carry weight. The universe does not discern humor from seriousness, it simply obeys the vibration. One who repeatedly jokes about misfortune will find misfortune appearing, for the magnet has been laid. One who constantly speaks of being broke calls that state again and again. The magnet does not question whether you meant it, it simply draws. Therefore, every word should be chosen with awareness, for every word is an architect of tomorrow. The great secret lies in making words allies rather than enemies. To wake each morning and declare, "Today brings me miracles and divine supply," is to set a magnet before the hours that follow. The day is then compelled to answer, for the decree has gone forth, to meet challenges and say, "This situation is already resolved in my favor," is to turn the magnet toward victory rather than defeat. The word must always precede the manifestation, for it is the word that prepares the soil, the word that summons the form, the word that brings the invisible into visibility. Think of those who have risen from obscurity to greatness. Their words always preceded their rise. They spoke a vision when others saw none. They declared abundance when the cupboard was bare. They affirmed health while their bodies trembled. And slowly, steadily, the magnet of their words gathered reality to match. Their lives became the echo of what they had spoken. For no word once released is lost. It travels, it works, it builds, until at last it returns clothed in form. The tongue is the rudder of the ship. It may steer into calm waters or onto the rocks, but steer it must, for the ship cannot sail without it. Every declaration turns the course slightly, and the repeated declaration fixes it. If one desires abundance, the tongue must be trained to speak abundance. If one longs for peace, the tongue must utter only peace. If one seeks love, the words must reflect love. For words are never idle, they are forces, magnets, calls that cannot be withdrawn once released. Poverty is the result of miscalling, not fate. People have been taught to believe that lack is some permanent condition imposed upon them by destiny, by circumstance, or by the family into which they were born. They accept the idea that struggle is their lot in life, as though some invisible hand had decreed that only a chosen few may prosper while others must toil endlessly with little to show. Yet the truth is simpler and far more powerful. Poverty is not written in the stars, nor locked into a person's bloodline. It is the outcome of calls made unconsciously, words spoken without awareness, thoughts repeated until they became commands. Life is always listening, and what it hears most clearly it obeys. To miss call is to summon what one does not desire. Just as a person on a street corner might wave down the wrong vehicle and be carried somewhere they never intended to go. When people constantly say, "I never have enough," they are hailing lack. When they sigh, "Things never work out for me," they are calling disappointment. When they mutter, "Money slips through my hands," they are inviting exactly that. These words, born of habit and fear, are signals to the unseen law, and the law responds faithfully, not as punishment but as obedience. The universe is impartial. It does not decide who shall have and who shall want. It merely mirrors the calls that have been made. Imagine a person who wishes to ride to a beautiful destination, but spends their time waving frantically at buses marked with routes to places they dread. Each time the bus stops, they climb aboard, and then lament that they have ended up in the wrong part of town again. Yet they continue to repeat the same action, never realizing that it was their own hand, their own call, that brought them there. Poverty works in precisely the same way. The outer circumstances are only the visible stops along the road. But the true cause lies in the repeated summons, the words spoken without thought, the beliefs held in the heart. This is why one person may grow up in hardship yet rise into abundance, while another, born into plenty, finds themselves surrounded by lack. Fate is not the deciding factor, calling is. The one who rises is the one who changes their signal, who begins to speak differently, who declares, "I am supplied, life supports me, money comes to me in perfect ways." These words send out a new summons, and in time, the outer world must rearrange itself to match. The one who falls into poverty, though surrounded at first by wealth, may repeatedly speak of fear, of shortage, of impending ruin, and their call is answered as faithfully as the others. The law does not distinguish between high or low, rich or poor, noble or common. It only answers. The tragedy is that most people do not know they are calling. They believe they are merely describing their circumstances when in truth they are commanding them. They say, "I am broke," thinking they are stating a fact when they are in reality issuing a decree that the condition continue. They complain, "There is never enough to go around," believing they are being practical when they are in fact planting the seed for more lack to appear. Words are never neutral, they are always creative, always magnetic, always summoning. To miss call through negative speech is to set the magnet in the wrong direction. Poverty is not inherited, it is spoken into existence. Families who repeat tales of struggle, who constantly affirm, "Money is hard to come by," unknowingly pass down a language of miss, calling to their children. The children grow up repeating the same phrases, summoning the same conditions, and so the pattern continues, not because fate decreed it, but because the call was never changed. The cycle is broken the moment a single member of that family begins to speak differently, to declare, "I am rich in supply, and life opens its treasures to me." That new call is enough to reroute the bus, to signal a different vehicle, to change the entire journey. One cannot escape the law by silence, for even thoughts are calls. A person may say nothing aloud, but may dwell in constant inner worry, rehearsing lack in their mind all day long. These silent declarations carry weight, for the inner dialogue is as much a summons as the spoken word. The one who silently frets over unpaid bills is sending out a stronger signal of poverty than they realize. The mind is the radio tower, and every thought is broadcast into the unseen. The call does not rest, it continues until a new call replaces it. This is why poverty is so persistent. It feeds on itself. The experience of lack prompts fearful words, and those fearful words call forth more lack. It becomes a cycle, a self-fulfilling loop, until the individual recognizes the law and chooses to break it. The way out is not through struggle, nor through envy of the wealthy, but through a new call. When one begins to declare, "Money comes to me easily, I am abundantly provided for, everything I need is supplied," the cycle breaks. Slowly the outer world begins to mirror the new call, and opportunities arise where before there were none. Consider how easily the call is made in everyday life. A friend asks, "How are things going?" And the reply is, "I'm barely scraping by." Another asks, "Can you afford it?" And the reply is, "Not a chance. I'm broke." Each answer is a call, though disguised as conversation. Each statement sends the signal farther, fixing the condition in place. If one were to reply instead, "I am richly supplied, all is well," even when appearances seemed otherwise, the call would shift. The new magnet would begin to draw, and the old condition would lose its hold. The law is precise. Poverty does not arrive because someone deserves it, nor does wealth flow because someone is favored. Both are the results of calling, whether conscious or unconscious. The universe is an obedient servant, delivering what has been requested, whether the request was made in faith or in fear. If the call is misdirected, the result is misfortune. If the call is aligned with abundance, the result is supply. Poverty, therefore, is never a final decree, but always a temporary condition, ready to be dissolved the moment the call is corrected. Wealth includes health, joy, freedom, and opportunity, not just money. Too often, people reduce the idea of wealth to a stack of coins, a number on a bank statement, or possessions displayed for others to see. They chase dollars as if money alone were the proof of prosperity, yet many who hold fortunes are impoverished in spirit, depleted in health, chained in fear, or barren in joy. True wealth is not measured by figures but by fullness. It is the condition of being supplied in every direction of life, so that one's days are rich not only in currency but in vitality, in laughter, in liberty, and in the constant unfolding of new doors to walk through. Money alone can buy a bed, but it cannot buy sleep. It can purchase medicine, but it cannot secure the vigor of a body that thrives. It can provide grand houses, yet if love and harmony do not dwell there, the house is empty of joy. It can create the illusion of freedom through abundance of possessions, yet if the heart is bound by fear, resentment, or loneliness, that freedom is an illusion. Wealth in its truest sense is wholeness, a harmony in which every part of life flourishes. Health is wealth, for without it, riches lose their luster. A body that rises each morning with strength, breath, and energy is a treasure beyond calculation. Many who possess worldly fortune long for a single day of pain-free movement, a night of restful sleep, a mind clear and calm. To affirm, "Every cell of my body radiates health, and divine life flows through me," is to call forth a form of wealth that no vault can contain. The wealth of health fills every moment with possibility, enabling one to enjoy all else that life offers. Joy is wealth, for joy cannot be purchased nor stolen. It is an inner river, flowing regardless of conditions, springing up from a heart attuned to gratitude and expectation of good. Joy brightens the face, enlivens the spirit, and multiplies all other forms of abundance. A person with joy attracts more opportunities, more friends, more harmony, for joy is magnetic. To speak, "I rejoice in the good of every day, I see beauty everywhere," is to call joy as surely as one calls a taxi to the curb. And when joy comes, it brings companions, laughter, lightness, ease, and the sweet taste of living fully. Freedom is wealth, for one who is enslaved by fear, by limitation, by the dictates of others, no matter how rich in possessions, remains poor. True wealth is the ability to choose, to walk one's path without chains, to live according to divine direction rather than the demands of circumstance. Freedom is the wealth of time to do what one loves, the wealth of courage to speak one's truth, the wealth of liberty to create without restraint. To affirm, "I am free to live fully, guided by divine order," is to summon this wealth, which opens gates that seemed forever closed. Opportunity is wealth, for it is the open door, the sudden chance, the unexpected invitation that changes the course of a life. One opportunity can outweigh years of struggle. It is not always money in hand, but the possibility to create, to expand, to step into a larger place. Opportunities are born of alignment, and they flock to those who expect them. A person who declares, "New doors of good are always opening for me," sets a magnet that draws encounters, connections, and ideas that money alone could never secure. To live surrounded by opportunity is to live surrounded by promise, and that is a treasure of the highest order. Wealth is harmony among these elements. To have money but no health is partial wealth. To have health but constant fear about lack is partial wealth. To have joy but no freedom is partial wealth. The full expression of prosperity is balance, a state in which each area of life supports the others, creating a golden circle. Health fuels joy, joy attracts opportunities. Opportunities expand freedom, freedom allows for greater wealth, and wealth supports health. The circle turns endlessly, each part nourishing the whole. When one calls prosperity in its entirety rather than in fragments. Too often, people block this greater wealth by focusing narrowly on money. They affirm riches but neglect health. They chase possessions but ignore joy. They labor endlessly for status but bind themselves in fear. The result is imbalance, and imbalance is poverty disguised. A true call for wealth must be wide, generous, inclusive. It must say, I am rich in every area of life. I am strong, joyful, free, and endlessly supplied. Only then does the magnet draw not just coins, but wholeness. Consider the individual who earns a vast income, yet lives in constant anxiety about losing it. Their body withers under strain, their nights are restless. Their joy is absent, their freedom curtailed by their own dread. This is not wealth but bondage. Now consider the one who has modest means but radiates health, greets each day with joy, feels free to pursue their calling, and finds opportunities meeting them at every turn. This person is wealthy indeed, for their life is rich in ways that no sum could measure. And when such a one continues to call abundance with clarity, money too must come. For money is but one form of wealth's expression. Every affirmation of prosperity must therefore embrace the whole. To say, I am wealthy, is to include in that declaration the unseen riches of body, mind, heart, and spirit. To say, my life overflows with abundance, is to summon not just money but vitality, laughter, liberty, and doors opening in every direction. The law does not limit what it brings, it delivers exactly what is called. If one calls only money, money may come. But without its companions, it may turn to ashes in the hand. If one calls the fullness of wealth, the response is fullness, and life becomes a banquet rather than a crumb. Faithful expectation opens the door for wealth to arrive swiftly. Expectation is the invisible bridge between desire and manifestation, the current that carries unseen supply into visible form. To expect is to know without wavering that what has been called is already on its way. It is not hoping, which trembles, nor wishing, which doubts, but the calm certainty of one who knows the law is unfailing. Just as the farmer plants seed and expects harvest, knowing the earth will yield in due season, so the one who speaks words of abundance must expect their fulfillment with unwavering faith. When a person calls for a taxi, they do not remain on the curb with despair, wondering if one will ever appear. They stand with assurance, watching the road, ready to step in as soon as it stops. They may glance up and down the street, but they do not doubt the vehicle is coming. That readiness, that quiet confidence, is the very essence of expectation. Wealth responds to the same posture. Speak your affirmation. Call forth your abundance, and then wait with open hands, ready to receive. The signal has been given, and the universe is already in motion to deliver. Doubt is the great thief, for doubt cancels the call. One may declare, money comes to me easily and freely, and then immediately follow with, but I don't see how it can happen. That second statement erases the first. Expectation must be faithful, unbroken, unshaken. It must be steady in the face of appearances, for appearances are only the outer shell. The true movement takes place in the unseen, where every call is answered the instant it is made. Just as a taxi begins to turn toward you the moment you signal, though you may not yet see it, so wealth begins to move toward you the moment you declare, though no evidence has yet arrived. Faithful expectation is an inner state that produces an outer readiness. The person who expects abundance does not speak of lack, does not act as though money will never come. They speak with gratitude in advance, they walk with the composure of one who already has. They prepare their affairs for increase. Expectation is visible in action. A A person who prays for opportunity but refuses to prepare when it comes does not truly expect. The one who expects sets the table, opens the door, clears the space, makes room. Their actions are the proof of their inner certainty, and that certainty accelerates the arrival of what they have called. Expectation is magnetic. It pulls to itself the very thing it anticipates. The fearful expectation of loss draws loss. The faithful expectation of supply draws supply. Many unknowingly sabotage themselves by expecting the worst. They rise each morning expecting bills, expecting delays, expecting rejection, and life answers according to their summons. To reverse this, one must choose deliberately to expect good, even when no evidence appears. Say, I expect miracles today. I expect new channels of money. I expect health, joy, and freedom. These words are not idle. They are keys that open invisible doors. Expectation must be faithful, because the law answers unwavering faith with speed. When a call is made with complete assurance, the supply rushes forth, unhindered by doubt. The very speed of manifestation is governed by the purity of expectation. The more mixed the call, the slower the arrival. The clearer and stronger the call, the swifter the result. Faithful expectation is like a beacon shining without interruption. Wealth cannot lose its way to such a signal. The mind must be trained, for human habit leans toward doubt. People are taught to prepare for disappointment, to shield themselves against hope, to say, I'll believe it when I see it. Yet the law works in reverse. See, you will see it when you believe it. Expectation is the vision that precedes manifestation. To hold a picture in the mind and say, this is already mine, is to provide the blueprint from which reality must be built. Without expectation, even strong affirmations falter, for the words lack the current to carry them forward. With expectation, even a single word is enough, for it is charged with power. Faithful expectation is not straining, not waiting in tension. It is calm, relaxed, joyous. The one who expects does not pace the floor. They go about their work with serenity, knowing the answer is sure. They do not plant the seed today and dig it up tomorrow to check if it is sprouting. They trust the unseen process, and their trust allows the process to complete. In the same way, when you declare abundance, you must let the word take root, undisturbed by doubt, watered daily with gratitude and affirmation. There are those who say, I expected wealth, but it never came. Yet if the expectation was tinged with fear, contradicted by complaint, overshadowed by unbelief, it was not faithful. True expectation never fails. It cannot fail, for the law cannot contradict itself. Just as fire must give heat and water must flow downward, so expectation must produce its likeness. To the degree that one holds it faithfully, wealth must appear. Faithful expectation changes perception. The one who expects abundance begins to notice doors that were always there but unseen. They find themselves at the right place, meeting the right people, seizing the right opportunities, not because chance has altered, but because their vision has cleared. Expectation sharpens the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the mind to recognize. What others pass by, the expectant one claims, for they know it was sent for them. Expectation is also protection. The person who expects only good is shielded from harm, for they do not align with it. Even when others are swept into misfortune, the expectant one walks through untouched, for their magnet is set to a different current. By expecting wealth, they create a channel that misfortune cannot enter. This is why faithful expectation is not merely about receiving but about maintaining, about living continually in the flow of abundance without fear of loss. To live in faithful expectation is to walk in partnership with the unseen law, knowing it will never fail. Each morning becomes a doorway, each day a delivery. One rises and says, I expect increase today. I expect blessings today. I expect wealth in every form. These words align the heart, the mind, and the outer life, creating a harmony that calls supply swiftly, directly, without obstruction. The game of life is a game of choices. To be smart, not stupid, is not simply a matter of intellect, but of spiritual alignment, mental clarity, and intuitive grace. Many imagine that intelligence comes from books, degrees, or clever speech. But true smartness is divine wisdom in action. It is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It is choosing peace over pride, purpose over popularity, clarity over chaos. A smart person listens not only with their ears but with their inner guidance. They do not jump to conclusions, nor do they make decisions based on fear, ego, or anxiety. Instead, they tune into that quiet, knowing voice within that always speaks first, softly, but clearly. The smart person trusts this voice. They know that intuition is the wireless connection to the infinite intelligence, and when we are still, it speaks. To be smart is to understand the law, not just the law of man, but the higher laws, the law of attraction, the law of karma, the law of expectancy, the law of non-resistance. The stupid person fights against life. They complain, they doubt, they try to make things happen. The smart person allows. They speak their word and know it is done. They do not beg life for blessings, they claim them. A smart person blesses their enemies and praises their friends. They do not waste energy on gossip, arguments, or proving a point. For they understand that whatever they fight, they energize, and whatever they resist, persists. Instead of reacting, they respond. Instead of judging, they observe. Instead of worrying, they affirm. And oh, how powerful are their words! The smart person knows the tongue is a mighty sword. They do not speak of lack, failure, or sickness. They say, I am guided, I am protected, I am divinely led, even when appearances shout otherwise. They remain unmoved, rooted in truth, anchored in faith. The smart person is not swayed by the chaos of the world, for their kingdom is not of this world. They know that the outer is but a mirror of the inner, and so they clean their inner house daily, sweeping away resentment, dusting off doubt, polishing faith. Their mind becomes a clear channel through which divine ideas flow freely. New doors open, right people appear. Solutions drop like ripe fruit from the invisible tree. To be smart is to align with the rhythm of the universe. To walk by faith, not by sight. To let go quickly, forgive easily, and expect miracles as the natural order of things. The smart person does not strive, they glide. They do not hustle, they magnetize. They are not arrogant, but humble in the power they carry. They know they are not the source, but the vessel. So we must choose. Will we be smart or stupid? Will we fight the current or float downstream with grace? Will we speak fear or declare faith? Will we react with ego or respond with wisdom? Trust your intuition over impulsive reactions. This is not merely a suggestion, but a spiritual commandment for the one who desires to live wisely and walk in alignment with higher truth. Intuition is the language of the soul. It is the voice of infinite intelligence that speaks within every man, woman, and child. It is quiet, calm, and certain, never rushed, never fearful. It arrives not in panic but in peace. It whispers, while the world shouts. It nudges, while the ego pushes. Intuition is always first to speak, but last to be heard, because most people are not listening. To trust your intuition is to rise above the clamor of the outer world. It is to shut the door on panic, fear, and noise and enter the secret chamber of the heart, where the still small voice gives perfect direction. That voice is never wrong. It does not rationalize, it does not argue, it simply knows. And if followed, it will always lead to right action. Divine timing, perfect outcomes. Most people are ruled not by intuition but by impulse. They make decisions based on fear, emotion, or urgency. They feel pressured, pushed, cornered, and they react. They shout when they should be silent. They run when they should wait. They speak when they should listen. The world has glorified speed, but speed without wisdom is destruction. The smart person knows this. They pause. They listen, they ask, what does my spirit say? And they wait for the answer to rise, not from the intellect, not from the emotions, but from the deep well of inner knowing. Impulse is the child of the ego. It is impatient, aggressive, and loud. It loves to jump to conclusions. It seeks drama, control, and instant gratification. It is always in a rush, it hates to wait. Impulse says, do it now, or lose your chance. Intuition says, wait until you're sure. Impulse screams, something is wrong. Intuition calmly says, all is well. One creates chaos, the other creates peace. People often say, I knew I shouldn't have done it. I had a feeling. That feeling was intuition. But they ignored it because it was quiet. They ignored it because it didn't explain itself. Intuition does not provide long arguments or charts or step-by-step logic. It simply gives a sense, a nudge, a knowing, a feeling of either peace or resistance. And if that feeling of resistance is ignored, the price is always paid. The smart person learns to recognize the tone of that voice. They learn the texture of true guidance. They train their spiritual ears to discern between the clatter of emotion and the clarity of intuition. They understand that intuition is not emotion. Emotion is reactive, unstable, and dependent on external conditions. Intuition is steady, objective, and comes from a higher plane. A decision made in high emotion is rarely wise. A decision made in alignment with intuition is always right, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. The ego wants to be clever, to control, to dominate. Intuition simply wants to guide. The smart person surrenders the need to be clever and chooses to be clear. They do not act out of obligation, guilt, or fear of missing out. They act because something deep within them says, "This is the way." And when they hear that voice, they move, not out of panic, but with purpose. Not because of pressure, but because of clarity. This kind of inner listening takes practice. It is a discipline. One must become still, silent, receptive. One must step back from the noise of the world, the opinions of others, the chatter of the mind, and enter the temple of the soul. There, one asks, what is right for me? Not, what do they want me to do? Not, what will look best? Not, what do I feel like doing right now? But, what is divinely right in this moment? To cultivate this listening, the smart person makes time for quiet. They journal, they pray, they meditate. They walk alone in nature. They become familiar with the voice of intuition until it becomes louder than the voices of fear, doubt, or social expectation. They test it, they follow it, they learn to trust it. And as they trust it, their life begins to flow. They find themselves in the right place at the right time, speaking the right words, meeting the right people. Life opens up. Problems dissolve before they even appear. Obstacles vanish. Solutions present themselves before the question is fully formed. And still, the world around them may look at them and say, "How did you know?" But they smile and say nothing. For intuition cannot be explained to those who do not listen. The smart person does not argue their inner guidance. They do not seek validation for what they know inside. They simply obey. Obedience to intuition is the highest form of intelligence. It is not passivity. It is not weakness. It is the strength of surrender to the higher path. Trusting intuition also requires courage. The path it points to is not always the easiest or most comfortable. It may say, "Leave that job," when logic says stay. It may say no, when everyone expects you to say yes. It may ask you to walk away, to step up, to risk, to wait. And in these moments, the smart person listens. Not because it is easy, but because it is right. They understand that every act of obedience to the inner voice deepens their connection to it. Each time they follow, the voice becomes clearer, stronger, more immediate. There are times when the impulse feels stronger than the intuition, because fear is loud and stillness is quiet. But even then, intuition waits. It is never gone. It simply steps aside until we are ready to listen again. The smart person forgives themselves for the times they ignored it. They learn from it. They adjust course. They return to the inner compass and say, "Guide me again." And the compass always responds. The outer world is a mirror of the inner. When we follow our intuition, we send out a signal of trust and clarity to the universe. The universe responds in kind. Doors open without force. Right timing is revealed. The people we need show up. The opportunities we desire align. This is not luck, it is law. Inner clarity produces outer ease. Inner confusion produces outer conflict. Impulse produces detours. Intuition produces alignment. It is not about being perfect. It is about being present. The smart person is not free from doubt. They are free from the need to obey it. They feel the emotion, but do not let it drive. They notice the impulse, but do not follow it blindly. They recognize the fear, but wait for the peace. They listen for the quiet yes of the soul, and when they hear it, they move, even if the world tells them they're wrong. In the stillness, they remember who they are, not a victim of circumstance, not a slave to impulse, but a vessel of divine wisdom. They remember that intuition is their birthright, their compass, their sacred inheritance. They remember that they are not alone in this life, that there is a higher mind, a higher order, a divine intelligence that knows the way, and whispers it gently, moment by moment, thought by thought, step by step. Speak words of faith, not fear. Words are not idle, they are seeds. They go forth into the invisible and create form. Every word spoken plants itself in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind and grows after its kind. Words of faith yield blessings, harmony, and success. Words of fear produce delays, struggles, and loss. The smart person understands that their mouth is a creative instrument. What they speak becomes law. What they declare becomes their experience. Most people speak carelessly, unaware that they are issuing decrees with every sentence. They say things like, "I'm always broke. I can't catch a break. This always happens to me," and then wonder why misfortune seems to follow them. These are not harmless expressions, they are self-fulfilling prophecies. Words of fear bind, limit, and delay. They call forth the very conditions one seeks to avoid. Fearful speech is magnetic to negative experiences. The smart person chooses their words with reverence, for they know that the universe listens and responds. To speak words of faith is not to ignore appearances, but to rise above them. It is to look a problem in the eye and say, "Even this shall pass. Even this shall be made right. I am divinely guided, and nothing can harm me." Faith speaks in the language of certainty, not desperation. It does not beg, it declares. It does not hope, it knows. Faith says, "I am provided for." Even when the bank account is low, it says, "I am healed." Even when the diagnosis is grim, it says, "Everything is unfolding perfectly." Even when circumstances appear chaotic. Fearful people believe that their words must reflect their situation. They think it dishonest to say, "I am well," when they are sick, or "I am wealthy," when they are in debt. But spiritual law does not operate by the visible. It responds to the spoken word backed by belief. The smart person understands this paradox. They know that speaking the truth of the soul is more powerful than describing the facts of the moment. They declare what they desire to see, not what they currently observe. Speaking words of faith requires discipline. The world trains people to complain, to doubt, to gossip, to dramatize. But the one who desires mastery over life must gain mastery over the tongue. The uncontrolled tongue is like a wild horse. It can destroy. The trained tongue is a golden chariot, carrying the speaker swiftly toward their good. The smart person speaks deliberately. They ask themselves before speaking, "Is this rooted in faith or in fear?" If the answer is fear, they are silent. If it is faith, they speak it boldly. Many wonder why their affirmations seem ineffective. They say, "I repeated the positive words, but nothing changed." This is because the words were empty. Faith is not in the syllables, it is in the vibration behind the words. To say, "I am prosperous," while feeling fear and doubt is to cancel the affirmation before it has time to take root. The smart person does not merely recite, they embody. They fill their words with conviction. They speak from the place of knowing, not wishing. To cultivate this kind of speech, one must first cleanse the heart. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. If the heart is filled with resentment, worry, and guilt, then even the most beautiful words will carry the frequency of fear. The smart person examines their inner state. They release what is false. They forgive past wrongs. They neutralize bitterness with blessing. Then, when they speak, their words are pure vessels of light and power. Faith-filled speech is not just for moments of crisis. It is a way of life. It is saying, "Thank you," before the blessing arrives. It is saying, "I am safe," before the path is clear. It is saying yes to life, even when circumstances seem to say no. The smart person builds a habit of faith, language in small things, so that when the storm comes, their tongue does not default to fear. They speak life into their home, their work, their body, their relationships. They speak hope when others complain. They speak solutions when others speak problems. Their words uplift, direct, and bless. Words of faith also carry authority. They are not passive. They command. The smart person speaks with the certainty of one who knows they are backed by divine power. They say, "Doors open for me now," and the doors swing wide. They say, "The right people are drawn to me," and the people appear. They say, "Nothing and no one can stop my good," and obstacles dissolve. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is standing in the truth of who one really is, a creator, not a victim. Fearful words, on the other hand, weaken the speaker. They broadcast doubt, confusion, and vulnerability. They attract unwanted situations. The person who constantly says, "I can't. I'm afraid. What if it goes wrong?" is sowing seeds of struggle. These seeds may not sprout immediately, but they will take root. The smarty person refuses to plant what they do not want to harvest. They weed the garden of their speech daily. If a fear-based thought arises, they do not speak it. They transform it. They say, "I release this thought. I choose to speak only what I desire to see." This practice does not mean denying emotions. Emotions arise, and the smart person feels them fully, but they do not speak them into permanence. They may feel afraid, but they do not say, "I am doomed." Instead, they say, "Even now, I am being guided." They do not speak limitation into their life story. They do not make declarations rooted in temporary discomfort. They speak from the higher self, the eternal truth, the part of them that is untouched by circumstance. Children instinctively understand this. They speak with boldness. They say, "I'm a superhero. I'm the fastest. I'm amazing," without apology or doubt. Somewhere along the way, the world teaches people to speak smaller, to temper their light, to hedge their declarations. The smart person reclaims that childlike certainty. They remember the creative power of the word. They say, "I am worthy. I am whole. I am ready." And they say it not as a wish but as a decree. This way of speaking also influences others. Words of faith uplift not only the speaker but the listener. In a room full of fear, one voice of truth can shift the energy. The smart person uses their words to build, to bless, to calm, to guide. They do not waste their breath on gossip or criticism. They use their words as instruments of healing. They speak favor over others. They say, "You've got this. You're not alone. Something good is coming." And those words take root in the hearts of those who hear them. Their speech becomes a ministry. It is said that words are spells. That is why we spell them. Each sentence is a casting of intent into the fabric of reality. The smart person treats this power with reverence. They know that a careless word can wound deeply, and a kind word can heal. They do not say what they do not mean. They do not predict doom or speak defeat. They speak as one whose words are watched, for they know they are always planting, always directing energy, always creating. Align with universal laws, not ego. The universe is governed by fixed principles, invisible yet unchanging, eternal yet immediate. These laws are not invented by humankind. They are discovered. They existed before language, before belief, before any religion. Just as gravity pulls with silent certainty, the spiritual laws work in stillness and precision. They do not bend to opinion, emotion, or circumstance. The smart person learns to recognize and live by these laws, for they are the blueprint of a harmonious life. The ego, on the other hand, is loud, reactive, and unstable. It thrives on control, separation, comparison, and fear. It believes that life must be forced, manipulated, and defended. It does not trust flow. It believes in fight. The ego resists the universal order because it wants to be the sole ruler. It wants to claim credit for every success and assign blame for every failure. It is addicted to appearances and obsessed with outcomes. The smart person sees through this illusion and aligns instead with what is real, what is true, and what is permanent. There is a law of cause and effect. What you sow, you reap. Every thought, word, and action plants a seed in the unseen, and that seed will return a harvest in due season. The ego believes it can cheat this law, cut corners, or manipulate outcomes. It thinks it can lie without consequence, hate without return, take without loss. But the law is impersonal and unyielding. It delivers not what one wants, but what one gives. The smart person knows this and chooses their inner world carefully. They guard their thoughts. They bless rather than curse. They forgive rather than avenge. They trust that every generous act returns multiplied, every fearful impulse must be dissolved, and nothing escapes the balance of divine law. There is the law of vibration. Everything is energy and everything vibrates. Thoughts are not invisible, they are magnetic. Feelings are not private, they radiate. The ego clings to the idea that thoughts are neutral unless acted upon, but the universal law responds to the frequency behind every intention. What you expect, you invite. What you believe, you build. What you fear, you feed. The smart person raises their vibration deliberately. They choose thoughts that reflect the world they wish to live in, not the one they fear. They speak not of what is lacking, but of what is already on its way. They do not wait for conditions to improve. They improve their own alignment first. Knowing the outer must follow the inner. The law of divine timing is another that the ego resents. The ego demands instant gratification. It wants results now, applause now, answers now. It views waiting as weakness. But the smart person trusts the perfect unfolding of events. They understand that what is truly theirs can never be withheld, and what delays them may be refining them. They do not rush, force, or panic. They take inspired action and then release the outcome, knowing that right timing is never late. They align with patience, not passivity. They move when moved by spirit, not pushed by fear. Another great law is the law of assumption. What you assume to be true becomes your reality. The ego doubts, questions, and sabotages. It assumes danger, rejection, and failure. It replays past disappointments and projects them onto the future. The smart person chooses differently. They assume success, they assume favor, they assume ease. Not as fantasy, but as alignment with what is possible through higher law. They walk as if their good is already theirs. They speak as if doors have already opened. They live from the end, not toward it. This alignment collapses delays and draws outcomes swiftly, for belief is the fuel of manifestation. The ego thrives on resistance. It believes that struggle is noble, that effort proves worth, that pain is the price of progress. But universal law works through ease. Nature does not strain to bloom, nor does the sun force itself to shine. The smart person lets go of the ego's attachment to struggle. They do not glorify burnout, competition, or overwork. They align with the law of flow, which says that what is right for you comes without strain. When resistance arises, they do not push harder. They pause, listen, and redirect. They move with life, not against it. There is also the law of oneness. All is connected. What you do to another, you do to yourself. The ego lives in separation. It sees others as competitors, threats, or tools. It creates hierarchies, judgments, and divisions. It seeks superiority through exclusion. But the universal law reveals unity. The smart person sees others not as enemies or rivals, but as reflections of their own consciousness. They bless those who curse them. They celebrate the success of others as proof of what is possible. They do not tear others down to feel taller. They rise by lifting others. They align with the truth that what is sent out returns, and so they send only what they wish to receive. The ego craves control. It clings to plans, predictions, and preferences. It fears the unknown and tries to dominate the unfolding of events. But the universal laws require surrender. Surrender is not defeat, it is alignment. The smart person lets go of needing to know every detail. They release the how and trust the law to handle the logistics. They hold the vision but let the path unfold. They move with inspired clarity but not rigid attachment. They replace control with cooperation, planning with presence. The ego also loves complexity. It confuses, distracts, and overcomplicates. It believes that success must be difficult and answers must be hidden. But universal truth is simple. What you give, returns. What you believe manifests. What you align with, becomes your experience. The smart person avoids overthinking and analysis paralysis. They do not seek endless proof or validation. They trust the simplicity of divine order. They clear their inner space and allow clarity to emerge. Gratitude is another force aligned with universal law. It multiplies good and dissolves limitation. The ego sees only what is missing. It compares, complains, and craves. But gratitude sees what is already working. It amplifies blessings by acknowledging them. The smart person gives thanks before the evidence appears. They cultivate appreciation not just as a feeling, but as a frequency. Gratitude is not passive, it is magnetic. It draws more to be grateful for. It signals to the law that the individual is ready to receive more. The law of detachment is often misunderstood. The ego thinks detachment means not caring, but in truth it means not clinging. The smart person desires fully, but without desperation. They hold their dreams like a bird in an open palm, not clenched in a fist. They trust the law to deliver in the best way, even if it looks different than they imagined. They do not measure success by appearances. They measure alignment. They know that the ego will always want more, but the soul desires truth. Humility is also essential to alignment. The ego seeks praise and superiority. It wants to be right, to be admired, to be worshipped. But universal law favors the humble, not the timid, but the clear. The smart person does not need to prove themselves. They serve quietly, they give generously. They remain teachable. They do not believe they are above others, nor do they pretend to be beneath them. They simply are, and they allow others to be. There is a rhythm to everything, a divine intelligence that orders the stars, the tides, the breath. The smart person aligns with that rhythm. They do not rush ahead, nor do they lag behind. They feel when to move, when to wait, when to act, when to release. They trust that this intelligence is greater than their limited view. They know that the ego panics in uncertainty, but the soul rests in knowing. The more they release the need to control, the more miracles unfold without effort. They stop striving and start aligning. They stop demanding and start receiving. They understand that the ego resists what already belongs to them, while alignment allows it in. Protect your energy like treasure. Your energy is your currency, your vibration, your influence, your shield, your magnet. It determines what you attract, how you feel, what you notice, and how others respond to you. To the smart person, energy is not abstract, it is practical. It is the very fuel of their clarity, their peace, their intuition, their creativity. When it is scattered, polluted, or drained, they cannot think clearly, love deeply, or move wisely. So, they guard it, not out of fear but out of wisdom. They treat it like sacred gold, because that is exactly what it is. People trade their energy for approval, for likes, for petty arguments, for the illusion of control, for proving their worth. They exhaust themselves pleasing people who are not pleased by anything. They drain themselves responding to every comment, every conflict, every demand that comes their way. The smart person no longer lives this way. They recognize what steals their peace. They step back from emotional clutter, from energetic vampires, from mental noise. They stop giving access to those who only take. Stop explaining themselves to those committed to misunderstanding, and stop leaking energy into holes that never fill. Protecting your energy means becoming deeply selective about your focus. Where your attention goes, energy flows. If your attention is constantly pulled to chaos, gossip, negativity, and lack, your energy will reflect that. You will feel tired, irritated, restless, and empty. The smart person redirects their gaze. They look toward growth, beauty, peace, and purpose. They do not stare at the problem for hours. They seek solutions. They do not obsess over what is missing. They appreciate what is present. They do not feed the noise. They nourish the stillness. Their attention is not free. It is invested with intention. Energy protection also means understanding boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. The smart person decides who walks through those doors. They do not allow anyone to enter their field with disrespect, manipulation, or drama. They do not keep people around out of guilt or fear. They do not allow their kindness to be mistaken for endless access. They say no, not with hardness but with honor. They say no to conversations that drain, commitments that distract, relationships that deplete. Every no to what dishonors them is a yes to their power. Some protect their homes more than their minds. They lock the doors but leave their inner space wide open to every fear, every demand, every insult. The smart person locks the mind as firmly as the house. They become conscious of what thoughts they entertain. They do not invite every worry to sit and stay. They do not replay old arguments like background music. They keep their mental space clean, calm, and aligned. If a negative thought knocks, they answer with truth. If an anxious thought arises, they soothe it. Not with panic, but with presence. Their energy is not left to chance. It is curated. Technology is one of the greatest drains of modern energy. Endless scrolling, passive consumption, digital noise, it all fragments the focus and saps vitality. The smart person limits their exposure. They choose when to be online, what to consume, and why. They do not wake up to notifications and feed their mind chaos before the day even begins. They reclaim their mornings, protect their sleep, and create digital boundaries. They understand that quiet is not empty, it is powerful. In stillness, energy is restored, clarity returns, and guidance flows. Relationships either nourish or drain, uplift or confuse. The smart person audits their circle without apology. They do not tolerate emotional games, passive aggression, or energetic dependence. They do not confuse history with alignment. They love deeply, but they love themselves enough to walk away when necessary. They do not chase connection. They attract it through resonance. They surround themselves with those who respect their time, honor their growth, and match their energy. They know that one true connection is worth more than 100 shallow ones. They keep their circle sacred, not crowded. The body is the vessel of energy. To protect energy is to care for the body. The smart person listens to their physical cues. They rest when tired, move when stagnant, hydrate when dry, nourish when depleted. They do not push themselves beyond balance in the name of achievement. They do not punish their body with guilt or shame. They create rituals of renewal, walks in nature, baths of silence, meals of gratitude, moments of movement. They honor their body as an altar, a channel for intuition and joy. Their energy is grounded, not scattered. Silence is a sanctuary for energy. The world is loud and the ego thrives in noise. The smart person creates intentional silence. They step away from the crowd, the constant, the chaotic. In silence, they hear their own voice again. In silence, the wisdom within rises. In silence, the energy they gave away returns home. They do not fear being alone, they cherish it. Solitude is not loneliness, it is presence with self. It is a sacred meeting with spirit. The smart person turns down the outer volume to hear the inner knowing. Energy is also affected by what is unspoken. Unexpressed anger, unhealed wounds, unresolved grief, these are silent drains. The smart person does not bury their emotions. They acknowledge, feel, and release. They write it out, cry it through, speak it safely. They do not carry the weight of unprocessed pain into tomorrow. They do not perform wellness while suppressing truth. Emotional honesty is energy hygiene. They know that what is felt can be healed. What is denied grows heavier. They lighten their load by living emotionally clean. Words carry energy. Every word spoken either lifts or lowers vibration. The smart person speaks with care. They do not curse their lives with complaint, do not drain their field with gossip, do not weaken themselves with sarcasm and self-deprecation. They bless their path with kind language. They affirm their worth, their strength, their direction. They speak light into their space, speak healing into their days. Their words match their energy, and their energy shapes their experience. Many give their energy to the past. Regrets, grudges, memories loop endlessly. But the past is a closed door. The smart person withdraws their energy from what cannot be changed. They bless the past, release the attachment, and bring their full power to the now. Energy in the present multiplies. Energy trapped in memory withers. They reclaim the power once lost in old stories and invest it in new creation. Comparison is another thief of energy. The ego thrives on measuring itself against others. But the smart person knows that comparison is a lie. No one has your path, your purpose, your timing. They do not spend energy watching someone else's garden bloom. They water their own. They celebrate others without diminishing themselves. They understand that someone else's success is not their failure. They are too focused on their alignment to be distracted by envy. Energy is also protected through spiritual connection. Whether through prayer, meditation, visualization, or silence, the smart person returns daily to the source. They recharge in the invisible. They draw strength not just from food or rest, but from truth. They speak with their higher self. They receive clarity from the field of the unseen. They know that energy is not just physical, it is soul deep. And when the soul is nourished, the energy glows. Living wisely means spending energy on what feeds, not what bleeds. The smart person asks, does this lift me? Does this align with my truth? Does this reflect love or fear? They do not react, they respond. They do not explain, they embody. They do not chase, they attract. Their energy is not random, it is sovereign. They live like guardians of a sacred flame, and that flame lights the way forward. Think long, not loud. The smart person does not rush to speak just to be heard. They do not confuse volume with value, reaction with wisdom, or speed with substance. They understand that the loudest voice is often not the wisest, and that many speak only to fill the silence, not to reveal truth. In a world obsessed with immediate opinions, instant reactions, and attention-grabbing declarations, the smart person chooses instead to think deeply. Speak thoughtfully and act intentionally. They know that real power is quiet, real clarity is calm, and real intelligence waits for understanding before it demands attention. Thinking long means pausing between stimulus and response. It means allowing space for reflection, for discernment, for observation. The ego rushes. It feels threatened by silence and impatient with process. It wants to be first, not right. But the smart person recognizes the strength of stillness. They know that wisdom does not shout. It listens. It gathers. It weighs. It reflects. It does not race to conclusion but walks to insight. The smart person is not interested in winning arguments. They are interested in seeing clearly. They do not throw words like darts. They shape them like keys. To think long is to see beyond the moment. It means stepping back from the heat of emotion and looking through the eyes of time. The loud thinker reacts to what is immediate. They are consumed by the now, triggered by every shift, pulled into every storm. The long thinker sees the bigger picture. They ask, will this matter in 5 years? Is this the real issue, or just the symptom? Am I responding from wisdom or wound? They do not allow fleeting moods to drive permanent decisions. They rise above the noise of urgency to listen to the whisper of vision. Thinking long also means caring more about truth than ego. The ego wants to be right, not wise. It speaks over others, defends its position, clings to its story. But the smart person is willing to change their mind. They do not fear being wrong. They fear remaining blind. They study themselves as much as they study others. They ask hard questions and do not flinch at the answers. They recognize that growth often comes through discomfort, and that the truth may contradict what they once believed. They are not loyal to their opinions. They are loyal to their evolution. Loud thinkers often seek to impress. They want to appear certain, strong, informed, important. They speak more than they listen. They fill space with words instead of wisdom. But the smart person does not perform intelligence. They embody it. They are not interested in being impressive. They are interested in being effective. They know that true influence does not come from noise, but from clarity. Their thoughts are not rushed, and their words are not wasted. They would rather say one thing that transforms than 10 things that distract. They carry presence more than persuasion. To think long is to think beyond self. It means considering the impact of your words and actions, not just on your own life, but on the lives around you. The smart person asks, what does this decision ripple into? Who does this choice affect? Is this beneficial or just convenient? They understand that leadership begins with responsibility, that the mind must be trained not only to analyze, but to empathize. They do not think only for their own gain. They think for the good of the whole. They are not caught in the vanity of personal victories, but are committed to collective wisdom. The practice of thinking long sharpens the inner voice. When the world shouts with noise, urgency, and distraction, the smart person turns inward. They make space for their own insight to emerge. Not recycled thoughts, not borrowed beliefs, but original, conscious perspective. They journal. They meditate. They walk. They sit with questions instead of demanding immediate answers. They know that deep thinking is not about complication. It is about clarity. The deeper the roots, the higher the reach. They allow time for thoughts to mature, for intuition to rise, for alignment to crystallize. They do not confuse mental noise with mental strength. Thinking long means thinking ahead. It means planting seeds, not just picking fruit. The smart person sees decisions as seeds. They understand that what they do now shapes what grows later. They do not act for applause. They act for results. They are not driven by how things look, but by how they unfold. They prepare for seasons not yet here. They make choices their future self will thank them for. While others chase quick wins, they invest in deep foundations. They know that some rewards come only to those willing to wait, build, and endure. They do not fear the long road. They walk it with quiet confidence. There is also discipline in thinking long. Discipline to resist impulsive reactions, to pause before speaking, to question before concluding. The smart person does not let mood drive meaning. They do not let urgency dictate truth. They take responsibility for their perceptions. They recognize that not everything deserves a response, and not every reaction deserves energy. They develop the strength to observe without absorbing, to witness without collapsing, to engage without losing their center. Their mind is not chaotic, it is trained, not rigid but refined. Thinking long invites grace. Grace for others, grace for self, grace for the process. The smart person does not demand perfection, only progress. They know that understanding takes time, and that growth is not always loud or visible. They do not rush others into change nor shame themselves for evolving slowly. They honor the timing of insight, the layers of healing, the unfolding of clarity. They do not interrupt the process with premature certainty. They let things ripen. They let wisdom arrive in its own way, in its own time. The world often rewards the loudest voice, but the smart person is not chasing applause. They are pursuing alignment. They speak only when their words carry weight. They act only when their steps are guided by insight. They trust that silence can be louder than noise, that presence can speak louder than opinion, and that understanding grows not from speaking first, but from listening fully. In conversations, the smart person does not dominate. They create space. They ask questions, they listen with curiosity, they pause before responding. They are not waiting to talk. They are learning, absorbing, reflecting. They do not argue for the sake of being right. They explore for the sake of uncovering truth. They do not speak to fill silence. They speak to bridge understanding. Their communication is rooted not in the need to impress, but in the desire to connect. They are aware of the energy behind their thoughts. Loud thinking is often anxious, defensive, or self-absorbed. Long thinking is calm, centered, and spacious. The smart person clears the emotional fog before they try to make sense of anything. They ask, is this thought coming from fear or clarity? Is this belief rooted in truth or habit? They challenge their assumptions. They are not seduced by their own biases. They grow beyond them. They understand that every belief is a lens, and if the lens is dirty, the vision will be distorted. They think long because they live long. Not in years, but in depth. They are not reacting to today, they are shaping the whole story. They are not chasing the next thing. They are building something enduring. They make decisions not just for now, but for legacy. They do not seek to be impressive today, they seek to be impactful over time. Their mind is not loud, but luminous, quiet, aware, deliberate, and deeply, deeply alive. Within every human mind lies a treasury greater than gold, a kingdom richer than any earthly empire. This kingdom is not built of bricks and mortar, but of luminous thought, radiant faith, and divine ideas, awaiting their moment to blossom. The mind is the fertile garden of destiny, and every word, every belief, every mental image is a seed, quiet, invisible, yet powerful enough to move mountains and call forth miracles. Those who rise to great fortune are not born with crowns. They fashion their crowns from invisible substance. They know a secret, a golden law, that the outer world is but a reflection of the inner. Wealth, therefore, does not arrive with noise or strain. It comes like the tide answering the call of the moon. When a mind is aligned with prosperity, the universe itself conspires to open doors that once seemed locked. The secret of the billionaire brain is not merely in what is done, but in what is known. It is the unwavering certainty that abundance is a divine birthright, not a privilege. The soul that holds fast to this truth walks as one who already possesses all things, and by the silent decree of thought, the material world obeys. There is a language that the universe understands, and it is not spoken with the lips, but with the spirit. Thoughts of fear speak poverty. Thoughts of faith declare wealth. The wealthy mind does not beg for opportunity, it commands it with calm assurance. It does not chase after riches, it allows riches to find it, drawn by the magnetic power of belief. The mind is the master architect, and the outer life the obedient servant. Every fortune begins as an idea, clothed in the garments of imagination. When the heart and mind are united in faith, ideas become golden keys that unlock treasure houses unseen by ordinary sight. The billionaire mind sees what others overlook, believes what others doubt, and acts with the quiet confidence of one who knows the law is working in their favor. Fear is the great thief of fortune, but faith is the banker of the soul. Where fear whispers impossible, faith replies, already done. The individual who holds fast to the vision of abundance, undisturbed by appearances, plants themselves beside an eternal river of supply. They do not shrink in the face of delay or opposition, for they know delay is not denial, and opposition is but the shadow cast by approaching good. Prosperity begins not in vaults of steel, but in chambers of thought. A wealthy mind does not wait for conditions, it creates them. It does not bend to circumstance, it bends circumstance to its will. This is the royal secret of those who command empires and shape destinies. Their thoughts are their treasure map, and their faith the compass that never fails. When one learns to think as the prosperous think, to feel as the abundant feel, and to speak as the wealthy speak, the entire world rearranges itself in harmony with that vibration. The mind becomes a magnet, drawing supply from unexpected channels, turning every corner into a golden opportunity, and every challenge into a stepping stone toward greater gain. In this way, fortune is not a chase but a calling. The one who masters the inner law becomes the center of a divine circulation, where giving and receiving flow like breath, effortless, natural, unbroken. Wealth begins in the mind, not the bank. It is not born from numbers on a screen, nor from the weight of gold in a vault. It begins as an invisible current, a quiet but unshakable knowing that supply is infinite and creation responds to thought. Every visible fortune in the world has first been an invisible idea, an image impressed upon the unseen substance that shapes reality. The great secret is that nothing appears outwardly until it is first accepted inwardly. A person may look at their empty hands and still know they hold everything, for wealth is a state of consciousness before it is a state of possession. The soil of the mind must be rich with faith before the harvest of prosperity can appear. Many chase wealth outwardly, pursuing opportunities with feverish haste, yet their inner mind remains poor, barren of belief. In that condition, even gold slips through the fingers. But the one who understands the law of the mind holds the true treasure. For if the bank fails, the economy shifts, or the world grows uncertain, they remain rooted in the invisible source from which all riches flow. They know that fortune does not belong to the unstable tides of circumstance, but to the eternal current of thought. The mind that is trained to expect abundance will find it rising from unexpected places, as if the universe itself were eager to honor its decree. When thought is lifted to the level of wealth, every step begins to align with opportunity. Chance meetings appear to carry hidden blessings, closed doors swing open with ease, and resources arrive as though summoned. This is not coincidence, it is law. The mind that sees itself as rich sends out a silent command, and the world mirrors that command with precision. Those who lack this inner certainty may struggle, plan, and labor, but their efforts are like seeds cast upon stony ground. Those who possess it may act lightly, confidently, as if they already walk upon a golden path. The wealthy mind does not entertain the language of lack. It does not whisper, "I can't," "I wish," or "maybe one day." It declares, "I have, I am, and it is done." This language is the architect of its fortune, speaking silently to the universe, which is ever listening. It does not wait for the bank to reflect its worth. It knows its worth precedes the bank. Money is merely a symbol, a servant that obeys the thought of the master. When the thought is small, the flow is small. When the thought expands, the flow expands. Poverty is not simply the absence of material possessions. It is the presence of fearful thought. Wealth is not simply the accumulation of possessions. It is the presence of faith in unlimited supply. One person can sit in the same room as another, surrounded by the same world, and yet see completely different possibilities. One sees scarcity, the other sees opportunity. One waits for permission, the other gives the command. The difference is not outside of them, it is within. The mind that holds wealth sees beyond appearances. It looks at an empty field and envisions a palace. It looks at a single idea and sees an empire. It looks at what others call failure and finds the seed of triumph. This mind lives in a realm where limitation cannot enter because it has accepted abundance as the only truth. It does not ask whether the world will provide. It knows the world is but a mirror, reflecting what is already accepted inwardly. Every fortune ever built began in this inner chamber of thought. Before the first stone was laid, before the first coin was earned, there was a person who believed. They believed when there was no proof, no cheering crowd, no supportive evidence. They believed when circumstances looked bleak and hope seemed small. That unwavering inner stance became the magnetic center around which opportunity, resources, and people gathered. Wealth is drawn to certainty, the way rivers are drawn to the sea. To build wealth in the bank without first building it in the mind is to build a house on shifting sand. To build it in the mind first is to lay a foundation that no storm can wash away. This is why those who truly understand the law of thought do not fear loss. Even if fortune slips away, they know how to call it back, because the source is not external. It flows from within, ever faithful to the consciousness that commands it. The person who knows this walks differently. Their steps are sure, not because the ground beneath them is paved with gold, but because they know gold follows where their steps lead. Their speech carries authority, not because they possess riches, but because riches answer their voice. Their gaze is steady, not because everything is certain outside, but because certainty lives inside. When a mind accepts abundance as its natural state, it ceases to struggle. It does not chase money, it attracts it. It does not beg for opportunities, it creates them. It does not envy others' wealth, for it knows that the source that gave to another is the same source that flows through itself. In this state of consciousness, wealth is not a distant dream, but a present reality, waiting to unfold in visible form. Many look to banks, investments, or markets to tell them their worth, but the wise know that these are merely mirrors reflecting the image held within. If the image is one of lack, even the greatest opportunities will wither. If the image is one of wealth, even the smallest opportunities will flourish. The world responds to the tone of the mind, like an instrument to a master musician. The key then is not to amass possessions first, but to claim inward wealth, to hold fast to the unseen reality until the seen world aligns with it, to think as though one already possesses what they desire. to feel the weight of prosperity in the soul before it weighs upon the hands. This is the golden gate through which lasting fortune flows. True wealth cannot be taken, for it does not live in vaults. It lives in consciousness. It is not locked behind steel doors. It is carried within the soul of the one who knows their infinite supply. And when this knowing deepens, when it becomes the foundation of thought, everything outside shifts to reflect it. The bank becomes a servant, not a master. Money becomes a tool, not a goal. Wealth flows like water to the mind that holds it as truth. Thoughts are seeds that shape destiny. Every idea, every belief, every quiet whisper of the mind carries a creative force, unseen yet immeasurably powerful. What a person thinks upon with feeling becomes the mold through which their life is poured. The world does not respond to idle wishes, but to the steady, persistent vibration of thought. Just as a gardener knows that a seed planted beneath the soil will, in time, break through and bloom, so too must one understand that every thought planted in the mind begins to take root in the field of life, unseen at first, but destined to reveal its nature. If the seed is one of fear, doubt, or lack, the harvest cannot be one of joy and abundance. If the seed is one of faith, power, and certainty, the harvest must be rich. Life is exact in its workings. It gives back only what has been planted. Many look at their present conditions and curse their fate, not realizing they are standing in the garden of their own past thoughts. Yesterday's beliefs are today's reality. Today's thoughts are tomorrow's world. This is not a punishment nor a reward. It is law. Just as no one blames the earth for what grows upon it, one cannot blame life for the harvest of their inner seeds. A person may think lightly that their thoughts are private, but nothing held in the mind remains hidden. Thoughts are like seeds carried by an invisible wind, settling into the soil of experience. Some grow quickly, others slowly, but all bring forth after their kind. Thoughts of poverty draw conditions of poverty. Thoughts of plenty draw plenty. The wise do not waste time fighting circumstances. They turn inward and sow new seeds. They understand that no outward change can endure without first changing the inward pattern that gave birth to it. The invisible realm of thought is the workshop of creation. Everything that stands in the visible world began as an unseen idea. Cities, inventions, movements, fortunes, all first existed in someone's thought before they took shape. Even the smallest shift in thought can set in motion a chain of events that alters the course of a life. The moment a person plants a new idea and tends it with belief, unseen forces begin to arrange themselves in harmony with that seed. Doors appear where walls once stood, paths clear where thorns once blocked the way. Thought is never still. It is always creating, always sending its unseen energy outward. Each thought is like a command, and the universe is ever obedient. The mind is not a silent observer. It is a powerful architect. It sketches the blueprint, and life builds according to the design. If the design is one of defeat, the structure that follows will reflect it faithfully. If the design is one of triumph, the structure will be unshakable. The most subtle thoughts, repeated often, become the strongest seeds. A single moment of fear may pass, but a daily habit of fearing becomes a deep root. A passing doubt may fade, but a constant inner voice of limitation builds walls where none existed. The one who understands this begins to guard the mind as a gardener guards fertile ground. They choose what seeds to plant, what thoughts to entertain, and what weeds to uproot before they grow strong. Words may speak loudly, but thoughts speak louder still. A person may say, "I am strong," yet if their inner thought is, "I am weak," life will respond to the thought, not the words. The universe listens not to the tongue, but to the vibration behind it. This is why mere affirmations, spoken without belief, bear little fruit. But when thought and word align, when the seed is planted with feeling and faith, the soil of life cannot help but bring it forth. Every thought carries within it a tendency to manifest. It is not idle, it is alive. A person may walk through their day unaware that their casual inner chatter is shaping tomorrow. Complaints plant seeds of more to complain about. Gratitude plants seeds of more to be grateful for. A single vision held with persistence begins to move people, events, and opportunities like chess pieces upon a board. It may seem as though nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, the roots are growing, preparing for their season of bloom. The garden of the mind cannot be left untended. If one does not choose their seeds, weeds will choose themselves. If one does not plant thoughts of faith and abundance, the wild seeds of fear and doubt will take root by default. Just as a neglected garden becomes overrun, so too does an undirected mind become a nest of worry, limitation, and stagnation. The wise do not wait for circumstances to change before they think differently. They think differently, and the circumstances follow. Some believe their future is determined by chance or by the will of others, but the truth is that the strongest force shaping destiny is the steady current of thought. Life bends to those who hold a clear inner image with conviction. What begins as an invisible thought becomes an impulse, then an action, then a habit, then a reality. Every great accomplishment, every fortune built, every obstacle overcome, began not with luck, but with a thought that refused to die. When a seed is planted, it does not sprout instantly. There is a season of silence beneath the soil. This silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. So it is with thought. Many plant a seed of prosperity, faith, or vision and expect immediate bloom. When they do not see it, they declare the seed dead and dig it up with doubt. But the wise gardener knows the law of growth and waits in quiet certainty, watering the seed with faith, refusing to let doubt trample the tender sprout. Every thought held with emotion becomes magnetic. It begins to draw to itself matching experiences, like iron filings drawn to a magnet. This is not magic, it is order. The outer world bends to the inner world because the inner world is the cause. Those who live in the consciousness of fear continually meet fearful circumstances. Those who dwell in the consciousness of abundance continually meet open doors. The thought does not beg for manifestation, it commands it. A single clear thought of power is stronger than 1,000 scattered doubts. The mind focused on one radiant idea begins to shape everything around it in harmony with that idea. People are drawn to it, opportunities orbit it, and unseen forces align themselves with its vibration. This is why a single vision, when held steadfastly, can transform a life. It does not need permission, only persistence. Thoughts are seeds, and seeds obey the laws of their kind. A rose seed cannot bring forth thorns alone, and a thorn seed cannot bring forth roses. In the same way, a thought of limitation cannot create expansion, and a thought of expansion cannot produce lack. Life is exact, precise, unwavering. It mirrors back only what is sown, nothing more, nothing less. This is the silent power that builds empires or destroys them, that lifts a soul to greatness or keeps it bound in smallness. It does not judge, it simply gives back what is planted. To master thought is to master the direction of destiny. To scatter it carelessly is to live by the weeds that grow in its place. The soil of the mind is generous. It does not question the worth of the seed, it simply brings it forth. Every moment, each person holds the power to plant anew. A single seed of faith, nurtured daily, can outgrow a forest of doubt. A single radiant vision can dissolve years of limitation. The destiny of tomorrow is held not in the hands of fate, but in the thoughts of today. Faith commands what fear repels. Where fear sees obstacles, faith sees pathways. Where fear trembles at the unknown, faith walks as though the way is already made. Faith is not a timid hope, nor a hesitant wish. It is a quiet authority, a spiritual decree that bends circumstances to its will. It stands where fear falters, it speaks when doubt falls silent, and it moves when others remain still. Fear shuts doors before they can open, but faith causes those same doors to swing wide without force. It is an invisible command that the universe obeys without question. Fear and faith are both creative forces. One builds walls, the other builds bridges. Fear sows seeds of retreat, hesitation, and lack, and life reflects them faithfully. Faith plants seeds of strength, abundance, and certainty, and the soil of the world brings them forth just as surely. Fear whispers, "What if I fail?" Faith answers, "It is already done." Fear delays action, binding the mind to what could go wrong. Faith releases action, aligning thought with what must go right. Both are beliefs, but one contracts while the other expands. One dims the light, the other shines it brightly. The power of faith is not in shouting or striving, but in knowing. It moves with calmness because it has already accepted the outcome as inevitable. It does not plead with life, it instructs life. It does not wait for signs to believe, it believes and causes signs to appear. Fear lives by appearances, studying every shadow as a threat. Faith lives by the unseen, trusting the law that what is spoken in spirit will unfold in time. Fear is a restless wind, faith is an immovable mountain. When faith fills the mind, fear loses its ground. They cannot dwell in the same space. A single flame of faith is enough to scatter the fog of fear, for fear has no substance of its own. It is a shadow that dissolves when light enters. Faith does not ignore obstacles, it speaks to them with authority. It looks at the mountain and does not say, "How high?" It says, "Move." This command is not born of arrogance but of divine certainty, the knowing that unseen forces align with conviction. The person who lives in fear often waits for conditions to change before they act. The one who lives in faith acts as though the change has already occurred. Fear says, "When everything is perfect, then I will move." Faith says, "I move, and everything will align." Fear walks by the visible, faith walks by the invisible. Fear needs evidence, faith is the evidence. And life, ever obedient to inner belief, responds accordingly. Fear blocks the flow of abundance, closing doors that were meant to open. It speaks in limitations, attracts delays, and feeds on hesitation. Faith, on the other hand, calls forth opportunity, draws unseen resources, and turns detours into golden paths. When a mind stands firm in faith, everything around it begins to shift. Obstacles are no longer barriers but stepping stones. Setbacks become preparations for breakthroughs. The external cannot help but bend to the inner command. Many believe fear is something to fight against, but fear is simply the absence of faith. It has no true power of its own. It is like darkness, which is nothing but the absence of light. The moment faith enters, fear dissolves. This is why a single unwavering belief can overturn years of uncertainty. Fear lives by questions. What if it doesn't work? Faith lives by declarations. It already works. Fear searches for guarantees before believing. Faith believes and becomes the guarantee. The language of fear is restless, doubting, always waiting for reassurance. The language of faith is calm, steady, and commanding. Fear says, "I hope it happens." Faith says, "It must happen." Fear trembles at storms. Faith walks on water. Fear counts what it lacks. Faith counts what is already given. In the unseen realm, every strong declaration of faith sends out a ripple that rearranges circumstances, people, and timing to match its vibration. Fear leads to inaction, keeping the soul trapped in cycles of delay. It clings to safety, never realizing that the only true safety lies in faith itself. Faith steps forward before the bridge is visible and finds the ground rising to meet its feet. The person who moves with faith carries an invisible authority that the world recognizes even before words are spoken. Doors open for them not because of force, but because faith has already commanded it. When a person allows fear to dominate their thoughts, opportunities approach but pass by unseen. Solutions knock but go unanswered. Fear blinds the eyes to possibilities that are already present. Faith, however, sharpens the vision. It allows a person to see what others overlook, to hear what others ignore, and to step where others hesitate. It transforms the ordinary into the miraculous, because it expects the miraculous as its natural right. Faith has a sound. It is the sound of certainty, the quiet voice that does not tremble when storms rise. It does not need loud declarations to be strong. Even a whisper of true faith carries the weight of mountains. Fear, no matter how loud, collapses before a single, unwavering inner knowing. This is why faith is the great commander. It does not beg, it does not chase, it claims. The human mind cannot serve both fear and faith at the same time. One must be chosen. If fear is chosen, life mirrors its trembling nature. If faith is chosen, life mirrors its strength. The person who stands in faith moves as though the outcome is already secured. And because belief precedes reality, the outer world responds as though it were so. Faith does not wait for permission, it creates the path. Fear often disguises itself as reason, whispering caution dressed in logic. But beneath its mask lies the same paralysis, the same shrinking back. Faith is not blind, it simply sees further than fear. It sees beyond appearances to the invisible law that governs all things. It knows that the unseen is more real than what is seen, and therefore it acts not on what is, but on what shall be. Faith does not need to know how, it only knows that. It speaks the word and trusts a law to arrange the steps. Fear, trapped in needing every detail, freezes. Faith moves first, and the details fall into place like obedient servants. This is why those who carry great faith often seem to live in a different world. They do not wait for the tide, they command the tide. Every person holds both forces within. Fear can shrink the mightiest dream to dust. Faith can turn a faint whisper of an idea into a reality that shakes the world. Fear looks at lack and accepts it as truth. Faith looks at lack and calls forth abundance. Fear bows to circumstance. Faith lives by creation. When a soul anchors itself in faith, it walks through storms untouched. It speaks into chaos and finds order. It declares abundance in the face of lack and watches as abundance appears. It does not sway with outer appearances because it knows that appearances are but shadows cast by belief. Faith is the sun behind those shadows, steady, unwavering, commanding without strain. The universe recognizes faith because faith is aligned with the creative law itself. Every great work, every leap of success, every unseen miracle was born of faith that would not yield. It did not wait for assurance. It was the assurance. Fear repels the very things the heart desires. Fear commands them forth. Fear shrinks the soul to fit the world. Faith expands the world to fit the soul. Fear follows the path laid by others. Faith carves its own. Fear keeps the treasure hidden. Faith opens the vault. Fear builds cages. Faith opens gates. The measure of one's faith is the measure of their influence upon the unseen. It does not matter how great the obstacles appear. It matters only how deeply one believes. Fear bows out before steady faith because faith does not negotiate, it declares. Fear asks, "What if?" Faith answers, "It is so." Prosperity answers, "Inner certainty." It is drawn not to the restless, the doubtful, or the uncertain, but to the mind that stands like a pillar of quiet power, knowing that what it seeks is already aligned with it. When the soul carries an unwavering conviction, the outer world responds as though summoned. This certainty is not loud or forceful. It is a calm, magnetic force that shapes events, draws opportunities, and moves obstacles aside without struggle. True prosperity does not come to those who plead for it, but to those who expect it as a natural expression of their being. Inner certainty is the invisible foundation upon which all abundance rests. Without it, even the grandest plans dissolve into hesitation. With it, even the smallest beginnings unfold into greatness. Prosperity recognizes certainty the way a river recognizes the pull of gravity. It flows to it naturally, effortlessly, without resistance. When a person holds fast to the belief that supply is inevitable, doors open in places where there were none. Paths appear where only walls seem to stand. Many look outward for the signs of prosperity, waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment, the perfect approval. But prosperity does not answer outward waiting, it answers inward knowing. The one who walks in inner certainty does not need to chase. They move as if the blessing has already arrived, and the world rearranges itself to match that conviction. Their steps carry the weight of assurance. Their voice holds a quiet authority. Their presence becomes a magnet for what others call luck, but is truly law in motion. The uncertain mind repels the very thing it desires. It doubts, it wavers, it hesitates, and in doing so, it sends mixed signals to the universe. Prosperity cannot build on shifting sand, but certainty is solid ground, and upon it the structure of abundance rises without strain. This is why some labor tirelessly and achieve little, while others, moving with quiet faith, seem to touch gold in everything they do. It is not chance, it is the power of inner certainty. This certainty is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the soul standing in its rightful place, recognizing that prosperity is not a prize to be earned, but a flow to be accepted. It does not demand or grasp, it allows. It does not panic at delays, for it knows delay is not denial. It does not crumble at appearances, for it knows appearances are but temporary shadows cast by deeper truths. Prosperity answers the one who does not question whether it will come, but moves as though it has already arrived. Inner certainty turns the invisible into the visible. It is the bridge between thought and manifestation. When the mind is anchored in belief, action follows naturally, effortlessly, without the friction of fear. This certainty radiates through every word spoken, every step taken, every decision made. People sense it, though they may not name it. Opportunities sense it as surely as flowers sense the sun. Circumstances bend to it because certainty speaks a language the universe cannot ignore. Those who lack this certainty often seek more effort, more striving, more noise. They believe prosperity is conquered through relentless force. But true abundance responds not to force, but to alignment. When inner belief is clear and unwavering, even the smallest action carries great power. The uncertain mind, on the other hand, may labor endlessly and still feel empty, for doubt cancels what effort tries to build. Certainty does not argue with reality, it shapes it. It does not look at an empty hand in despair. It looks and knows that the hand is merely a moment away from holding what is already promised. Prosperity answers that unwavering gaze. It is drawn to the soul that does not beg for proof, but becomes proof itself. This is why a single individual, anchored in inner certainty, can shift their entire environment without loud declaration. The power moves silently, like a river beneath still waters. The world mirrors the state of mind it encounters. When it meets uncertainty, it echoes confusion. When it meets conviction, it yields. This is not mysticism, but law. Every outer condition is a reflection of an inner position. The moment the position changes, the reflection follows. Prosperity does not question, it obeys the signal given by the mind. If the signal is wavering, the response is scattered. If the signal is steady, the response is precise. Inner certainty is not dependent on appearances. It remains when the bank account is low, when the path is unclear, when others doubt. It does not shift with circumstances because it knows circumstances are the effect, not the cause. It holds its ground like an unshakable root beneath the soil, waiting for the inevitable bloom. Prosperity answers this strength as surely as the sun answers the call of dawn. To live in inner certainty is to live in quiet authority. It is to walk into a room and know without speaking that what you seek is seeking you. It is to act without second-guessing, to speak without pleading, to move without doubt. This certainty turns every action into a seed and every moment into an opportunity. The outer world begins to organize itself around the inner conviction, as if every thread of reality were listening for its command. Those who understand this law know the power of stillness. They do not chase prosperity with frantic hands. They draw it with steady hearts. They do not cling to desperation. They trust the flow. Prosperity does not respond to desperation. It retreats from it. It does not come to those who doubt their worthiness. It answers those who have already claimed their worth. The moment the claim is made inwardly, the response begins outwardly. Inner certainty does not require validation. It does not depend on applause or permission. It exists before evidence appears, and that is why evidence follows it unfailingly. The person who holds this certainty may walk through storms and remain unshaken because they are anchored in a reality deeper than what eyes can see. Prosperity answers not the eyes but the anchor. This certainty is not learned from the world, it is remembered from within. It is the soul returning to its rightful inheritance, recognizing that abundance is not something to be chased, but something to be allowed. It is the end of begging and the beginning of being. Once this inner shift takes place, everything else begins to fall into place without the weight of struggle. The uncertain mind lives in waiting. The certain mind lives in receiving. One watches the clock and questions. The other trusts the law and moves. Prosperity answers the second, for it is magnetized to clarity, not confusion. It is not that one person is luckier than another. It is that one has aligned their inner state, and the other has not yet done so. Inner certainty allows a person to remain at peace even when outer conditions seem unfavorable. It does not chase signs or scramble for answers. It stands firm and lets the universe catch up to the decree already made in spirit. This is why prosperity often flows to those who appear calm and collected, while it seems to elude those who grasp at it with desperation. The calm one is not idle. They are aligned. Their certainty speaks more loudly than any words. The moment a person fully accepts prosperity as inevitable, the invisible machinery of the world begins to move. Connections appear, resources gather, ideas emerge. What seemed out of reach begins to move closer. Prosperity does not resist a mind that is sure of itself. It is like a river seeking the sea. It moves naturally toward its destination. This inner certainty is not a feeling that comes and goes. It is a stance, a position, a silent declaration that does not waver when tested. It does not panic at delays because it understands that time is only a servant of conviction. It does not crumble under pressure because it knows pressure only refines what is already destined. Prosperity answers this language with precision. The entire universe operates by order, not chaos. Prosperity is part of that order. When the inner voice says with clarity, "It is mine," the outer world rearranges itself to make it so. The clearer the inner voice, the faster and more exact the response. The uncertain whisper creates echoes that scatter. The unwavering voice creates a single, powerful call that cannot be ignored. This is the quiet mastery of those who seem to walk in abundance without strain. Their secret is not found in frantic action, but in the invisible fortress of inner certainty. They do not ask whether prosperity will answer. They know it already has. They do not wonder if the door will open. They walk as though it already stands wide. They do not seek to be worthy. They know they always were. Their certainty is their calling card, and prosperity never fails to respond to it. The mind is the magnet of abundance. It draws, it summons, it shapes, and it commands. The outer world is not a stranger acting at random. It is a perfect mirror reflecting the state of the inner realm. Whatever is impressed upon the mind with strength and belief becomes the pattern to which life must conform. Prosperity, opportunity, and success are not capricious gifts. They are obedient responses to the magnetic field of thought. When a mind is saturated with faith, vision, and clarity, abundance cannot help but flow toward it. Just as a magnet draws iron, the mind draws circumstances, people, and events into alignment with its dominant vibration. This magnetic power is not something reserved for a few. It exists in every human being. It is as constant as gravity, as impartial as the tide. Some use it unconsciously, pulling toward themselves conditions they do not want through fear and doubt. Others use it with deliberate intention, aligning thought with wealth and watching the world bend to their inner decree. The difference is not in power, but in awareness. The magnet of the mind never sleeps, never pauses, never rests. It is always attracting something, whether by design or by default. The mind that dwells on lack draws lack. It does not do so out of cruelty, but because that is the image impressed upon it. The mind that dwells on abundance draws abundance, for like attracts lack. This is the law, steady and unwavering. A magnet cannot pull steel one moment and push it away the next, unless its polarity is reversed. Likewise, the mind cannot attract prosperity while holding within it the conviction of limitation. The outer world will always follow the stronger inner current. Every thought held with feeling is a signal sent into the fabric of reality. These signals gather invisible threads, drawing into form the matching experiences. A mind that constantly speaks of hardship, worries about tomorrow, and expects little from life is a weak magnet for abundance. But a mind that sees only possibility, believes in its own power, and trusts the unseen order becomes a strong magnetic force that nothing can resist. The magnetism of the mind is quiet but unshakable. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not struggle, it pulls with invisible strength. The one who understands this walks differently through the world. They know that what they hold within will inevitably show without. They are careful with their thoughts, not because they fear mistakes, but because they know every thought is a magnet, either opening or closing doors. The mind is not neutral, it is a living center of attraction. Its dominant tone sets the rhythm for what enters and what is repelled. A person who cultivates gratitude, expectancy, and clarity begins to radiate a field that draws like a beacon. Opportunities seem to appear from nowhere, people seem to arrive at the right time, and doors that were once sealed begin to open without force. To the casual observer, this looks like luck, but it is law responding to magnetic thought. The weak magnet cannot hold what it draws. The strong magnet not only attracts but keeps. This is why fleeting bursts of positive thinking without deep conviction yield little. A single thought may spark movement, but a sustained current of belief shapes the flow. The universe listens to consistency, not passing moods. A person who holds their inner vision steady, no matter the noise of the outer world, builds a magnetic field so strong that abundance must respond. The mind's magnet does not work only when consciously used. It is always at work. If a person wakes in the morning filled with complaints, their magnet is charged with discontent and life mirrors it back. If they wake filled with expectation and strength, that same day becomes rich with unexpected gifts. The difference is invisible but powerful. It is the quiet frequency of thought that sets the tone for what the day must bring. This magnetic field is not measured by force but by alignment. A small, unwavering belief can draw more abundance than a loud but uncertain wish. The magnet of the mind responds to depth, not noise. It listens to what is truly believed, not merely what is said. A person may speak of success while holding doubt inside, and the magnet will follow the doubt, not the words. But when belief and speech align, the pull becomes unstoppable. The mind attracts not only circumstances but people who reflect its state. A person filled with scarcity will meet scarcity in others. A person filled with abundance will meet mirrors of abundance in every direction. The world becomes a grand stage, echoing the vibration held within. This is why changing external conditions without changing the inner state is futile. The magnet does not respond to action alone. It responds to the thought behind the action. The more one understands this, the more intentional their inner state becomes. Instead of wrestling with problems, they begin to align their thought with solutions. Instead of fighting scarcity, they embody abundance. This shift transforms the magnet completely, and what once seemed impossible begins to approach with ease. Life does not resist a clear, unwavering magnet. It yields to it naturally, like metal to a strong pull. Abundance is not persuaded by desperation. It is drawn by confidence. The mind that constantly doubts sends a fractured signal, and the response is fragmented. The mind that holds steady sends a clear, singular command, and the universe responds with precision. This is not about pretending or forcing belief. It is about settling into the quiet knowing that what is desired is already moving toward its source. The magnet works best when it is sure of itself. Fear weakens the magnet, scattering its pull. Faith strengthens it, focusing its energy into a single, potent stream. This is why fear and abundance rarely coexist. Fear pushes away what faith draws near. The stronger the faith, the stronger the magnetic pull. This pull does not rely on time, for time bends to it. It does not rely on proof, for proof follows it. The magnet is the cause, everything else is the effect. A powerful magnet does not strain to attract. It does not chase the iron. It pulls it without noise, without fuss, without effort. In the same way, a mind anchored in abundance does not scramble for opportunities. It does not beg for fortune. It allows fortune to flow toward it, as naturally as breath flows in and out of the lungs. This is the quiet power of true mental magnetism. Thoughts are not fleeting clouds, they are currents. Each one leaves a trace, and together they form the magnetic field of a person's life. A single fearful thought may pass, but a daily habit of fearful thinking creates a force strong enough to shape reality. Likewise, a single thought of wealth may inspire, but a steady habit of abundant thinking builds a magnet that reshapes everything around it. The key lies not in one grand moment, but in quiet, sustained direction. When a mind is truly magnetic, it no longer questions when or how. It simply knows. That knowing creates a force field that reaches beyond sight, beyond logic, beyond limitation. It draws exactly what matches its tone, like a tuning fork calling forth the same frequency in the distance. This is why those who hold unwavering visions see them manifest without struggle. Their magnet is clear, powerful, and aligned. This magnetic quality can be felt by others, even if they cannot explain it. People are drawn to those whose minds radiate strength and certainty. Opportunities seem to gather around them. Fortune seems to favor them. But it is not favor, it is law. The magnet within them pulls like an invisible tide, and everything aligned with it flows toward them. The magnet of the mind is not confined by external conditions. It does not weaken because of lack or grow stronger because of plenty. It responds only to belief. A person with nothing but an abundant inner state will attract all they need. A person with much but a fearful state will see their fortune slip through their fingers. The outer is the shadow, the inner is the source. To strengthen the magnet is to refine thought. It is to uproot doubt and plant conviction. It is to stop begging the world to deliver and begin knowing that it must. It is to release scattered thinking and hold a single radiant vision with unwavering certainty. Over time, the magnet grows so strong that no outer resistance can stand before it. The magnetic mind is not hurried. It is patient, calm, assured. It knows that what belongs to it cannot pass it by. It moves through the world not as a seeker but as a center of gravity, drawing everything needed to fulfill its vision. The universe does not resist this force, it answers it faithfully every time.
Beloved soul, hear me now, for I will tell you the secret that changes everything. You are not separate, you are not alone, and nothing in your life stands apart from the whole. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take, is woven into the great tapestry of divine oneness. You may believe your life is small, that your prayers vanish into the night, that your struggles are yours alone. But I say to you, everything you do touches everything else. You are bound by invisible threads to people you have not met, to opportunities you cannot yet see, to blessings waiting just beyond the horizon. There is no separation in spirit. There is only one. When you look at a drop of water, you may think it is just a drop, yet it is the ocean in miniature. When you look at a spark, you may think it is just a flicker, yet it carries the fire within it. When you look at yourself, you may believe you are small and powerless, yet you carry the entire universe in your being. Everything is connected. Your word is not only yours, it ripples outward, stirring unseen forces, moving men, moving money, moving miracles, until it returns multiplied to your hand. That is the law of divine oneness. And if everything is connected, then nothing you say is wasted. No prayer is unheard. No affirmation is powerless. Every time you say, "I am abundant," you join yourself to the abundance that already exists in every corner of creation. Every time you say, "I am poor, I am lacking," you join yourself to lack that echoes through the world. Which stream will you choose to join? For what you declare becomes your connection, and what you connect with flows back to you. You see, there is no such thing as chance. There is no such thing as accident. Spirit is exact, spirit is precise, and spirit is one. When you bless another, you bless yourself, for you and your brother are one. When you curse another, you curse yourself, for you and your sister are one. When you envy another's success, you cut the thread that could have carried success to your door. But when you rejoice at another's wealth, when you declare, "Good is flowing to them, and good is flowing to me," then the floodgates open, and supply rushes to both. This is why I tell you, beloved, guard your thoughts, guard your words, for you are never speaking in isolation. Every decree you make vibrates through the universe. When you mutter, "I cannot afford it," you send lack into the web of oneness, and lack returns to you. When you say, "I am always overlooked," you send rejection into the web of oneness, and rejection answers you. But when you boldly declare, "Everything I desire is mine now, under grace, in perfect ways," you send abundance into the web of oneness, and abundance must return multiplied. I once had a student who could not understand why her finances were always failing. She spoke affirmations for supply, yet lack persisted. When I listened to her, I heard her constantly speak envy of others. She said, "It is unfair that they have so much. Why should they prosper while I suffer?" Beloved, her very words cut her connection to prosperity. I told her, "Bless them. Say, that which is theirs, and that which is mine is mine. The same spirit that blesses them blesses me." She obeyed, and within weeks her own money began to flow. The law had shifted, not because she worked harder, but because she aligned herself with oneness. You may think money is separate from love, or health is separate from opportunity, but I tell you, they are all connected. If you speak ill of your health, you weaken your prosperity. If you curse your money, you limit your peace. But if you affirm life, if you affirm joy, if you affirm abundance, then each part of your life strengthens the other. For spirit does not divide, spirit multiplies. The law of divine oneness means you cannot isolate any good. All good is one river, and when you open yourself to one stream, the whole river flows to you. Beloved soul, think of the words you speak each day. Think of the secret thoughts you allow to dwell in your mind. Each one is a signal sent into the oneness. If you send fear, fear returns. If you send doubt, doubt returns. But if you send faith, faith returns. If you send blessing, blessing returns. If you send abundance, abundance returns. Do you see how powerful you are? You are never only speaking to yourself. You are speaking to the entire universe, and the universe always answers. So I tell you, Never again say you are alone. Never again say you are powerless. Never again say your words are small. You are one with the infinite. You are connected to the great web of spirit. When you move, the whole moves. When you speak, the whole responds. When you decree, the whole obeys. If you have been living in lack, it is not because spirit withheld from you. It is because you spoke against the oneness. If you have been waiting for opportunity, it is not because the universe forgot you. It is because you disconnected yourself by doubt, by envy, by fear. But the moment you speak in alignment with truth, the moment you affirm your oneness with abundance, the connection is restored and blessings rush in. Beloved, imagine now that you stand in the center of a golden web. Each thread stretches out to money, to love, to health, to peace, to joy, to opportunity. When you speak, light flows through those threads. If you speak lack, the threads dim. If you speak abundance, the threads shine. What do you want the web of your life to look like? Will it glimmer with gold, or wither in darkness? The choice is always in your mouth. So I tell you, start now. Speak only words that affirm your connection to divine supply. Say, I am one with abundance. I am one with wealth. I am one with health. I am one with peace. I am one with divine order. And as you say it, know that you are not making empty noise. You are lighting up the web of oneness, and the light must return to you. Beloved soul, take courage, for this law cannot be broken. Everything is connected, and what you send out must return. You are not at the mercy of luck, nor of chance, nor of the will of others. You are a thread in the great web, and by your words you decide what flows back to you. Speak abundance, and abundance shall find you. Speak supply, and supply shall meet you. Speak blessing, and blessing shall overflow. Everything is connected. You are not separate. You are not powerless. You are divine oneness in action, and by your decree you shape the flow of your life. So lift up your voice, align with the law, and declare only good. For as you do, the universe will respond swiftly, under grace, in perfect ways. Beloved soul, let me open this truth before you more clearly, for many have heard the phrase everything is connected, but few have understood what it means. The law of divine oneness is not a poetic thought. It is not a sweet idea to comfort the lonely. It is the very foundation of all spiritual law. It means there is no action, no word, no thought that stands alone. It means that what you do in one corner of your life ripples through the entire web of existence. When you drop a stone into a still pond, you may think it is a small act, yet the ripples spread wider and wider until they touch every edge of the water. So it is with your thoughts and words. You may whisper lack, you may murmur doubt, you may curse in secret, and yet that vibration goes forth into the oneness and returns to you multiplied. And likewise, when you bless, when you rejoice, when you affirm abundance, those ripples touch unseen shores and return with harvest in your hand. The law of divine oneness is exact. It allows nothing to be wasted, nothing to be hidden, nothing to be forgotten. It is written, "Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." This is not punishment, this is law. For sowing is not only deeds, it is words, and words are born of thoughts. Every thought is a seed. Every word is a decree. Every action is a harvest. Beloved, have you not noticed how one small decision changes the entire course of a life? A word spoken in kindness creates a friendship. A word spoken in anger destroys a bond. A single act of courage opens doors you never imagined. And a single act of fear closes paths that might have led to joy. Nothing is isolated. Nothing is separate. Everything is connected. And do not think your money is separate from your spirit, or your health is separate from your mind, or your love is separate from your words. No, they are all one, bound together by this law. If you speak fear in one part of your life, it echoes in another. If you curse your finances, it weakens your peace. If you despise your body, it limits your joy. But if you bless your finances, you strengthen your health. If you bless your health, you increase your love. If you bless another's prosperity, you multiply your own. The law of divine oneness ensures that every blessing you send is a blessing returned. Every curse you send is a curse received. Every seed you plant is the harvest you reap. I once told a woman who envied her neighbor's success, "Beloved, do not envy, for envy is poison that you drink yourself. Rejoice instead, for what you bless, in another you invite into your own life." She changed her words. She began to say, "I am grateful that abundance flows everywhere, for it flows to me also." Within weeks, her own business blossomed. What happened? She aligned with oneness. She realized there was no separation between her neighbor's good and her own. This law teaches us that lack is an illusion. For how can lack exist in oneness? How can the ocean lack water, or the sky lack air? When you believe in separation, you believe in lack. But when you believe in oneness, you believe in supply. All wealth already exists in the invisible. All health already exists in the invisible. All love already exists in the invisible. And because you are one with that invisible, you can draw it into visibility with your word. So how does this law govern your daily life? It tells you that nothing is too small to matter. A word muttered in complaint is not harmless, it is a seed. A thought of gratitude is not wasted. It is a blessing sent into the great web. Each time you say, "I cannot," you tie yourself to others who also cannot. Each time you say, "I can," you join yourself to the stream of those who have already succeeded. Beloved, your money is not disconnected from your words. If you constantly say, "I never have enough," you are not only speaking of yourself, you are pulling that condition into the universal flow, and that flow must return to you. But if you say, "I am one with infinite supply," you join yourself to the great abundance that exists everywhere, and that abundance must return to you. Your health too is not separate. If you constantly speak sickness, you join yourself to the vibrations of illness that circle the world. But if you declare, "I am one with divine life," you align with health that flows in every living thing, and health must return to you. Your relationships are not separate. If you speak bitterness, you tie yourself to discord. But if you speak love, you join yourself to harmony, and harmony must return to you. Do you see, beloved, how nothing stands alone? The world teaches separation, spirit teaches oneness. The world says you against me, mine against yours, wealth against poverty. Spirit says one law, one supply, one life, one love. What you send to another, you send to yourself. What you bless in another, you bless in yourself. What you decree in your own life, you decree for the whole, and the whole answers back to you. Beloved, when you understand this law, you stop asking, "When will my blessing come?" And you begin to ask, What blessing am I sending? You stop wondering, why is my money delayed? And you begin to ask, what word have I spoken that blocked its flow? You stop fearing, will I ever be healed? And you begin to declare, I am one with health, therefore health is mine now. The law of divine oneness is both responsibility and liberation. It is responsibility because you can no longer pretend your words are powerless. You can no longer blame others for your harvest, for your own tongue planted the seed. But it is liberation because you realize you can change your harvest by changing your word. You can shift your conditions by shifting your decrees. You can create a new world by speaking a new word. So I tell you, beloved, do not waste your speech on complaint. Do not waste your thoughts on fear. Do not waste your lips on envy. Align yourself with oneness. Declare only abundance, only health, only love, only peace, only success. For as you do, you are not merely speaking for yourself. You are speaking into the great web, and the great web must answer. Everything is connected. Nothing is separate. What you decree returns. What you bless multiplies. What you curse recoils. What you give out, you will surely see again. So speak carefully, live consciously, and decree boldly, for your word is not small. Your word is part of the whole. Beloved soul, now let us bring this law to the place where so many struggle. The realm of money, wealth, and supply. Too many believe their finances are separate from spirit, as though God cares for the soul, but not the purse, as though heaven grants peace, but withholds prosperity. But I tell you, your money is not apart from your spirit. Your money is not outside the web of oneness. The gold in your hand, the opportunity before you, the idea within your mind, all are connected, all are spirit in form. When you say, I cannot afford, you are not merely describing your condition, you are planting seeds of lack into the universal flow. That flow cannot distinguish between your inner world and the outer world, for both are one. So lack multiplies and returns to you. But when you say, I can afford everything I need under grace, in perfect ways, you are not merely speaking of one purchase, you are aligning with the abundance that permeates the universe. That abundance must answer you. Do not believe the lie that your supply is separate from another's. Many live in jealousy, saying, they have taken what should be mine. Their wealth robs me of opportunity. Beloved, this is a falsehood. No one can take what belongs to you by divine right. The law of oneness ensures that what is yours must come, and what is not yours will pass you by. Another's wealth does not diminish yours. It proves that wealth exists and flows freely. When you rejoice at another's prosperity, you join yourself to that same current, and it begins to carry you forward. I once told a student who constantly complained, everywhere I look, others are prospering while I struggle. I said to her, beloved, you have tied yourself to lack by your envy, untied yourself by blessing. Each time you see another prosper, say, that good is proof of what is possible for me. I bless their increase, and I join myself to the same flow. She obeyed. Within months, opportunities opened that had long been closed, and money flowed to her in unexpected ways. Why? Because she no longer cut herself off from supply by separation. She aligned with oneness. Money itself is not separate from spirit. It is a symbol, a channel, a form through which divine abundance flows. When you curse money, When you call it evil, when you resent it, you are cursing a part of the oneness, and so you block your own prosperity. But when you bless money, when you speak of it as a tool of good, when you treat it with gratitude, you align with the river of abundance, and that river pours into your life. Do not say, "I hate money." Say, "I love the good money does. I bless money, and it blesses me." Do not say, "Money is hard to come by." Say, "Money flows to me easily and freely, for I am one with divine supply." Do not say, "I never have enough." Say, "I always have more than enough, for abundance is limitless, and I am one with it." Beloved, everything in your financial life is connected. The words you speak about money ripple into your opportunities. The thoughts you think about wealth ripple into your ideas. The way you treat others, success ripples into your own prosperity. Nothing is separate. Everything is linked. When you bless, you join the current of blessing. When you curse, you join the current of cursing. Which current will you choose? I knew a man who constantly declared, "Money slips through my hands. I can never hold it." And so it was. Every time money came, it vanished quickly. I told him, "Speak a new decree. Say, money stays with me. Money multiplies in my hands. I use it wisely, and it blesses me continually." He obeyed, and soon his finances stabilized. The same man, the same job, the same world, but a new decree, aligned with oneness, produced a new harvest. Another came to me, always fearful of spending. She said, "I hold tightly to every coin, but still I never feel secure." I told her, "Beloved, when you fear to release, you cut yourself off from circulation. Say instead, I spend under divine direction, and my supply returns multiplied." She began to speak it, and soon she discovered that as she gave with joy, more always returned. She realized that money was not lost when spent. It was circulating in the great oneness, and it must return. Beloved, your money is connected to your faith, your generosity, your gratitude. Each time you give, you prove your trust in the law of oneness. Each time you bless another's prosperity, you increase your own. Each time you affirm abundance, you call forth that abundance in visible form. Nothing is isolated. The coin you give, the word you speak, the affirmation you declare, all are seeds planted in the same soil, and the soil must return the harvest. Say it with me now. I am one with divine supply. Again. I am one with abundance in all its forms. Once more, with faith rising, I am one with money that flows freely, under grace, in perfect ways. Beloved, never again say your finances are separate from spirit. Never again say wealth belongs only to others. Never again say your purse is empty while heaven is full. You are one with the infinite. The same spirit that paints the stars fills your bank account. The same spirit that feeds the sparrows supplies your every need. The same spirit that overflows in nature overflows in your life. Everything is connected. Your money is not apart from your words. Your words are not apart from your thoughts. Your thoughts are not apart from spirit. All is one, and all flows together. When you align with oneness, you align with wealth. When you affirm oneness, you affirm supply. When you bless oneness, you bless your own prosperity. So take this law and apply it. Speak only words of abundance. Think only thoughts of prosperity. Rejoice at every demonstration of wealth, whether in your hands or in another's, knowing it proves the law, and declare continually, I am one with infinite supply, and infinite supply is one with me. Beloved soul, if you live this truth, you will never again fear lack. You will never again envy another's success. You will never again doubt your provision. For you will know, in the deepest part of your being, that everything is connected, and because you are one with spirit, you are one with unlimited wealth. Beloved soul, truth must always show itself in proof. A law that cannot be demonstrated is not a law at all, but a theory. The law of divine oneness proves itself again and again in the lives of those who believe and decree it. Let me tell you of some who lived this law and saw miracles. A young woman once came to me weeping. She said, Miss Shinn, my life is nothing but lack. Every time I earn money, it disappears. Every time I make a plan, it collapses. Others prosper, but I am always behind. As I listened, I heard the words she repeated daily. She said, I never get ahead. I am always left out. Beloved, her own lips had tied her to lack. She was declaring separation, and so she lived in separation. I told her, do not say again that you are left out, for in oneness there is no out. You are one with supply. You are one with opportunity. You are one with every good thing. Begin to speak differently. Say instead, I am one with divine abundance. Everything I need flows to me, under grace, in perfect ways. She obeyed. She spoke it daily, even when her purse was empty, even when bills loomed before her. Within weeks, a forgotten debt was repaid to her, and unexpected money began to appear. What had changed? Her words, her faith, her alignment with oneness. Another came, a man crushed under the weight of jealousy. He said, I cannot bear to see my colleagues succeed while I struggle. Their good feels like a curse to me. I told him, Beloved, in oneness another's good is your proof. Bless it, and you will share in it. Curse it, and you cut yourself away. He began, haltingly at first, to bless others. When one received a promotion, instead of cursing, he declared, I bless their increase, for the same spirit that blesses them blesses me. Within months, his own promotion came, higher than he had expected, better than he had imagined. His envy had been the chain, his blessing was the key, and the law of oneness rewarded his decree. I knew also a woman sick in body. She constantly said, This disease separates me from life. I am broken. I am weak. And her body answered the decree. I told her, Speak not of separation, for nothing is apart from spirit. Declare instead, I am one with divine life. Health flows through me as it flows through all creation. She began to repeat it, with faith rising little by little. Slowly, strength returned to her body. The doctors marveled at her improvement, for they had expected only decline. She smiled and said, I have remembered that I am not separate from life. I am life in expression. The law had proved itself again. Beloved, even in matters of love, the law shows itself. A man once told me, I am always alone. Love skips over me. No one wants me. His very words tied him to loneliness. I told him, Do not declare separation, for love is oneness itself. Say instead, I am one with divine love. As I radiate love, love returns to me. He obeyed, though at first he doubted. Soon, new friendships blossomed. In time, a woman came into his life who cherished him deeply. He said, I was never unloved. I was only cut off by my own words. The moment I declared oneness, love found me. Beloved soul, these stories are not rare. They are not the privilege of a few. They are the natural fruit of divine law. The same spirit that answered them will answer you. The same law that fulfilled their words will fulfill yours. For everything is connected. Nothing is separate. Let us affirm together now. I am one with divine abundance, and abundance is one with me. Again. I am one with divine health, and health is one with me. Once more. I am one with divine love, and love is one with me. Beloved, let these words settle into you. Do not think they are empty. Every decree you speak vibrates through the whole. Every thought you release joins itself to unseen forces and returns multiplied. That is why some live in endless cycles of lack. They have declared lack so often that the web of oneness echoes it back continually. And that is why others live in continuous blessing. They have declared abundance so faithfully that the web of oneness pours it back without ceasing. The choice is always yours. What will you send into the oneness? What current will you join? For you cannot speak both curses and blessings and expect only blessings to return. You cannot affirm both lack and abundance and expect abundance to win. The law is exact, impartial, and unfailing. It gives back only what you decree. So I tell you again, if you would see miracles in your life, begin to live as though every word matters, for it does. Begin to speak as though the universe listens, for it does. Begin to decree as though your future depends on it, for it does. For the law of divine oneness is always in operation, and it always returns your own decree. A woman once said to me, "Miss Shinn, I tried affirmations, but they did not work." I asked her, "What words do you speak when you are not affirming?" She confessed that she constantly declared, "Nothing ever works for me." I told her, "Beloved, you cannot plant wheat in the morning and weeds in the afternoon and expect only wheat to grow. Guard your words. Let the affirmation become your only decree." She obeyed, and in time, the weeds gave way to harvest, for the law had no choice but to return what she consistently declared. Beloved, let these demonstrations encourage you. The law of divine oneness has no favorites. It does not bless one and withhold from another. It simply reflects what you give it. If you give it lack, it reflects lack. If you give it abundance, it reflects abundance. If you give it love, it reflects love. And if you give it blessing, it reflects blessing. So speak only words you desire to see multiplied. Think only thoughts you wish to see return. Act only in ways that reflect your oneness with Spirit. And the whole universe will move to meet you. Everything is connected. Everything is one. Your word is not wasted. Your decree is not forgotten. It is written into the great tapestry, and it returns as your life. Beloved soul, now that you have seen the proof of this law in the lives of others, it is time to activate it fully within yourself. For the law of divine oneness is not only to be understood, it is to be lived, spoken, and decreed until it becomes the very rhythm of your being. You cannot separate yourself from the whole. You cannot bless yourself without blessing another, nor curse another without cursing yourself. This is the secret of the law. Everything you send out returns multiplied, because everything is connected. So let us begin to speak blessings now. Let us declare with our lips words that align with oneness, so that our lives may overflow with supply, with health, with love, with peace. Close your eyes if you will, and breathe deeply. Feel that you are connected by invisible, golden threads to every soul, every opportunity, every blessing. You are not isolated, you are part of the whole. Say with me now, slowly and with faith, I am one with divine abundance. Again, I am one with unlimited supply. Once more, I am one with money that flows easily, under grace, in perfect ways. Beloved, as you speak these words, imagine yourself not only blessing your own finances, but blessing the prosperity of others. Imagine every person you know receiving abundance. Imagine wealth flowing through your family, your friends, even your strangers. For as you bless them, you join yourself to the same current, and that current must return to you multiplied. Say this with me, I bless the prosperity of others, for their increase proves my own. Again, I rejoice in the wealth of others, for I am one with the same supply. Once more, I am connected to abundance everywhere, and abundance is connected to me. Beloved, now let us speak health. For your body is not separate from spirit, and spirit is not separate from life. As you affirm your oneness with divine life, you send healing into the great web, and that healing returns to you. Say with me now, I am one with divine life. Again, I am one with health, wholeness, and strength. Once more, every cell of my body vibrates with life, for life is one. Beloved, see others as well in perfect health. Do not envy their strength. Do not resent their wellness, but bless it, for it is proof of your own. Say with me, I bless the health of others, for their life proves my life. Again, I rejoice in the healing of others, for healing flows to me as well. Once more, all health is one, and I am one with divine health now. Beloved soul, let us now speak love. For love is the purest expression of oneness. Love is the recognition that nothing is separate, that all is joined in spirit. When you affirm love, you align with the greatest force in the universe. Say with me, I am one with divine love. Again, I am surrounded by love, and love flows to me freely. Once more, as I radiate love, love returns multiplied to my life. Beloved, think now of others who live in joy, who walk in companionship, who dwell in harmony. Do not envy them. Bless them, for their demonstration is your promise. Say with me, I bless the love of others, for their joy proves my joy. Again, I rejoice in the harmony of others, for harmony flows to me as well. Once more, love is one, and I am one with love now. Beloved, do you feel how these affirmations shift your spirit? Each blessing you send is a seed planted in the field of oneness. Each decree you speak vibrates through the whole. Each time you rejoice for another, you open the door for yourself. Let us seal these blessings together. Speak now, with authority and joy. I am one with divine abundance, and I bless prosperity everywhere. I am one with divine health, and I bless healing everywhere. I am one with divine love, and I bless joy everywhere. Beloved, these words are not empty. They are living. They are spirit clothed in sound. They go forth, now into the great web of oneness, and they must return multiplied to you. Do not withhold your blessings. Do not curse another's good, for in doing so you curse yourself. Instead, bless continually, rejoice constantly, affirm joyfully. For the more blessings you send, the more blessings return. The more good you affirm, the more good appears. The more love you declare, the more love surrounds you. Everything is connected. Nothing is separate. You and your brother are one. You and your sister are one. You and prosperity are one. You and health are one. You and love are one. And as you decree it, so it must be. Say with me one last time, sealing it into your spirit. I am one with divine abundance, health, and love, now and forevermore. Beloved soul, the law of divine oneness is not only a truth to be spoken in sacred moments, it is a truth to be lived every day, in every word, in every choice, in every breath. For what good is it to affirm abundance in the morning and complain of lack by noon? What good is it to bless health in your prayer and then curse your body with careless words? What good is it to declare love with your lips and then speak bitterness against your neighbor? The law cannot be fooled. It always returns to you what you consistently send out. To live in oneness is to become conscious that everything matters. Your words matter. Your thoughts matter. Your actions matter. They are not isolated. They are not forgotten. They are not small. They ripple through the whole and return multiplied. So let me tell you how to live this law each day. When you wake in the morning, before your foot touches the floor, remind yourself of the truth. Say quietly, I am one with divine abundance, health, and love. Let that be your first decree. For how you begin the day sets the tone for the whole. If you begin in oneness, you will carry that vibration into every hour. As you move through your day, watch your speech. When you are tempted to complain, stop. Complaints are decrees of lack. Replace them with blessings. If you feel the urge to say, I am always behind, instead declare, I am always on time, for I am one with divine order. If you feel the urge to say, I never have enough, instead declare, I always have more than enough, for I am one with unlimited supply. Do you see, beloved, how every moment offers you a choice? You may affirm separation, or you may affirm oneness. One creates lack, the other creates abundance. One creates fear, the other creates peace. Even in small matters, live the law. When you pay a bill, do not grumble. This takes from me. Say instead, this money circulates in oneness, and it returns to me multiplied. When you see another succeed, do not say, why them and not me? Say instead, their good proves mine. I rejoice in their prosperity, for it blesses us all. When you eat your food, do not say, it is too little. Say instead, this food is blessed, and as I partake, I am strengthened by the one source of all life. Beloved, practice oneness in your thoughts. If a fearful thought arises, do not feed it. do not rehearse it. Replace it at once with truth. If your mind whispers, "You are alone," answer, "I am never alone. I am one with Spirit, and Spirit is one with me." If your mind whispers, "You may fail," answer, "I cannot fail, for I am one with divine success." If your mind whispers, "It will take too long," answer, "It is mine now, under grace, in perfect ways." Practice oneness in your relationships. Speak blessings instead of curses. If someone wrongs you, do not declare separation with bitterness. Say, "I release them to their good, for we are both one in spirit." If someone prospers, do not envy. Say, "Their prosperity is proof of the law, and I share in it, for all is one." If someone is sick, do not fear. Say, "The same life that flows through me flows through them. I bless their healing." Beloved, practice oneness in your money. Each time you receive money, bless it. Say, "I am grateful for this symbol of divine abundance. It multiplies as it circulates." Each time you spend money, bless it. Say, "This money goes forth to bless another, and it returns to bless me, under grace, in perfect ways." Each time you think of your finances, bless them. Say, "I am one with unlimited supply, and unlimited supply is one with me." Practice oneness in your body. Speak life to your cells. Declare, "I am one with divine life, therefore life fills me." When you feel weak, say, "Strength flows through me now." When you feel tired, say, "Energy rises in me, for spirit is tireless." When you feel pain, say, "This too is healed, for health is my oneness with life." Beloved, practice oneness in your quiet moments. At night, before you sleep, release every word of complaint, every thought of fear, every memory of envy. Say, "I am one with peace. I forgive, I bless, I release." And as you rest, the law continues its work. Even in your sleep, the seeds you planted with your words grow silently, and the harvest comes. The more you live this law, the more natural it becomes. Soon you will find that complaint no longer tempts you, envy no longer binds you, fear no longer lingers. Your tongue will bless without effort. Your thoughts will align without struggle. Your life will overflow without strain. This is the reward of oneness. Effortless flow, endless supply, perfect harmony. Say with me now, "I am one with divine abundance, and abundance flows to me freely. I am one with divine health, and life fills every cell of my body. I am one with divine love, and love surrounds me in perfect ways." Beloved, these are not words to be spoken once and forgotten. They are words to be lived, breathed, repeated, until they are as natural to you as your heartbeat. For every word you speak, every thought you entertain, every act you take is a seed sown into the web of oneness. And the harvest always comes. Everything is connected. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is separate. When you bless, you are blessed. When you curse, you are cursed. When you rejoice, you are increased. When you complain, you are diminished. The law is exact, and it cannot be broken. But it can be lived, and when you live it, your life becomes a demonstration of miracles. Beloved, start today. Love the law in your money, in your health, in your relationships, in your words. Live it in the morning, live it in the night. Live it when you are strong, live it when you are weak. Live it when you rejoice, live it when you weep. For the law never ceases, the law never falters, the law never forgets. And the law always returns what you send. So I tell you again, choose blessings, choose abundance, choose life, choose love. For these are the decrees of oneness, and as you speak them, as you live them, they shall return to you swiftly, under grace, in perfect ways. Beloved soul, we have walked together through the law of divine oneness. You have seen that nothing is separate, that no word is wasted, that no thought is powerless. You have seen that everything you decree ripples through the great web of spirit and returns multiplied. You have seen that your money, your health, your love, your peace are not divided things, but expressions of one supply, one life, one law. The world has told you otherwise. It has told you that you are alone, that your blessing depends on luck, that your prosperity steals from another, that your healing is impossible, that your words are empty. But I tell you, the world is wrong. Spirit is truth, and spirit declares oneness. Everything is connected. You and I are connected. You and abundance are connected. You and divine life are connected. You and perfect love are connected. The moment you accept this, the moment you decree it, your world shifts. Doors open, money flows, strength rises, love appears. Peace surrounds you, for nothing was ever withheld, it only awaited your recognition. Beloved, from this day forward, never again speak separation. Never again say, I am left out. Never again say, I cannot. Never again say, it is too late. Those are lies born of illusion. Speak instead the truth. Speak instead the law. Declare continually, I am one with all good, and all good is one with me. Say it now with me, slowly, with faith.